Yeah, here we go.
To Cancun.
Straight to the beach. The Cowgirls were sent home, and America was applauding. I mean, the Lions win, the Cowboys lose. It couldn't have been a better week if you were just a football fan without skin in the race.
Could have been a little better.
But speaking of Cancun, all of the boys' teams are now on vacation as well. So I don't know if we should cheer for that or if everybody should be a little upset, but that is just kind of how it goes. We're going to hop right into mega moments this week because we are going to break down the NFL playoffs up to this point. Going to be probably a little bit of a longer episode, so let's go ahead and get into these segments. Buckle up. All right, my mega moment this week. I figured all of us might probably touch on it a little bit, but I'm going to go into a little bit more depth on it as my mega moment. So it's going to be kind of a two-parter. First, obviously the Lions winning their first playoff game in 30 years. This is the first time that any Lions fan has been able to text their friend about a Lions playoff win. Texting was not invented the last time the Lions won a playoff game, so that is a huge mega moment for them. But more importantly to me, based on what I saw on the field on Sunday night, the biggest mega moment for me from the Lions this season is the culture change that has came with their winning. When Dan Campbell arrived in Detroit, he took on a team that had zero culture. They were coming off two different interim head coaches, one for 5 games, I believe, and the other for 1 game, really coming off of the Matt Patricia era, which was a terrible era for any fan of the Lions. Really just hard to watch as a football fan. They were looking for a spark from anybody, literally anybody, and they found it in Dan Campbell. Damn it, did they find it in Dan Campbell. In his first press conference with the team, he came with that spark and painted a beautiful picture for all Detroit Lions fans of what they were going to expect from their team. And I'm going to read this exact quote from him. "We're going to kick you in the teeth, and when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up, and on the way, we're going to bite a kneecap off." That's exactly what I saw from that Lions team on Sunday night. I saw a tough, physical, hard-nosed, win the game in the trenches type of team, and that is exactly the kind of team that Dan Campbell said he was going to bring to the city. I saw a team that embodied Detroit and played like Detroit on the field and was playing for the teammate next to them, which is something that we saw another team really lose because of in a game that came on Monday night. Just not playing for your teammates, playing selfish football, pointing fingers. It's you, it's not me. That you didn't see any of that from Detroit. The offense struggled a lot in the second half, and like I said, we're going to break down this game, all the games a little bit more in depth. The offense struggled in the second half, but one thing that never wavered in that game was their belief in each other, their belief in the team, and their tough physicality. They played with that all game, and if they were going to beat you, that's how they were going to beat you. They were going to break you down, and that's what they did to the Los Angeles Rams. It was a fantastic game. That game in and of itself could be a mega moment, 24-23. It
was the only good game we had all weekend.
Pretty much, yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. But the Detroit Lions, the culture change, Dan Campbell, the Jared Goff story, just Barry Sanders, and they got Megatron to show up to a Detroit event, which is very rare. You had Eminem in the stands, just seeing that city show up and show out and finally get something that we as sports fans have never experienced. I don't think any of us have experienced something like that as a fan of any of our teams.
Well, I haven't experienced anything as a fan of my team, but failure and desperation.
It didn't take 30. You were alive the last time the Steelers won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Georgia. We haven't won since 1980.
Back to back, baby.
I guess that's fair, but we were still competing. We weren't winning 1, 2, 3 games a season.
I guess we didn't go to a natty from 80 to 2017.
At least you didn't have an 0-16 season, though.
Yeah, college football is a little different, too, because before the 14 playoff, you didn't have any playoffs. You had bowl games, and I couldn't tell you the last time we missed a bowl game.
We've made like 28 straight.
Which is again, it's something we can't relate to, like Detroit missing the playoffs so many times, and then out of that, the few times they do make it this century, they get beat in the first round. So that's my mega moment. Really happy for Detroit. I wanted Matt Stafford to win. I'm a Matt Stafford fan. But if Detroit was going to win, I'm glad that's the way they won the game. They won it in the way that they wanted to win it, and they did it with the culture change. They did it with Dan Campbell. They did it with Jared Goff. They did it with the city behind them. It was fantastic to see, and that's why they are my mega moment this week.
Who would have thought that someone who played for that 0-16 Lions team was going to be their savior? But if you watched last week, which you better have if you're watching this week, my hot take last week was Baker going to ball out against the Eagles. And that's exactly what he did, so he's going to be my mega moment this week. I said he was going to throw for 300, threw for 337. Said he was going to throw 3 TDs. He threw 3 TDs. He's just out there having he's just out there having fun. Dropped his big Baker balls on the table.
They big.
They big.
Huge.
And sent Philly packing. That Philly pack hitting. I mean, there was never an energy like this when Baker was in Cleveland. He was always labeled the problem. He got him there.
He was the bust,
Their first playoff win in like a long time.
and they just kicked him out the door for Deshaun.
And
The
now
rapist.
now he's in Tampa
You
having
see the memes
fun.
about CJ and Deshaun? Yeah.
Did you
What
see
was it like, Jesus versus Satan or something
No,
like
it was,
that?
you know, the
No.
Vince McMahon video. He's like, "Come on out, you rapist."
No, I didn't see that.
And yeah, he's just having fun. And
He's playing with that swagger and that moxie that we saw Baker play with at Oklahoma. And the same swagger that made him so good at Oklahoma, the same swagger that the Cleveland Browns organization stripped from him.
And the Panthers.
And the Panthers was, in my opinion, worse for Baker than
Yeah,
I don't
they had him fucking lining up as the
As a D lineman.
Yeah, as a D lineman on the scout team.
shout out Sean McVay. That was one of the things that Baker pointed out, was that those few games that he spent in Los Angeles were probably the only reason his career is back on track right now. Because Sean McVay was like, "Look, man, we play to win and we play to have fun. Like, I'm not gonna stifle your swagger out here. Like, do what you do. That's why you were picked number 1 overall, because of the way you played. Why would somebody come out and change that?" I definitely agree with you there.
I don't think his moxie will continue much longer, but savoring the moment, Baker's going to be my mega moment this week.
All right, Jack.
Well, my mega moment is a moment that most of America can celebrate. It is the entire Green Bay Packers team. I would usually try and stick with a player. I think we usually go for the quarterback is usually where we go. But this whole team,
I didn't. I went for a team, so
that's true. But this whole team deserves a mega moment of the week. Jordan Love threw for 272 with 3 touchdowns, no picks, with just 5 incompletions in Jerry World, in one of the toughest places to play.
It was our first loss at home this year.
First loss at home this year, against a top 5 defense, put up 48 points. Aaron Jones rushed for 118 yards on 21 carries and
3 TDs.
I thought it was
3
TDs. And then Dobbs had 6 catches for 151 yards and a touchdown. That's something that he's been kind of elevated in their offense, and it's been cool to see all the young receivers kind of find their place.
Youngest team in the league.
Yeah, they're moving on, and they're the first 7 seed to ever win a playoff game. So
Really?
Yep.
They were 0-6 before this playoffs, and then
Oh, I forgot, because the 7th seed is rather new.
but they're the first one, and their defense also forced 2 interceptions and a pick 6. So, first 7 seed to ever win. They're facing their arch playoff rival in the 49ers this week
In the Bay.
in the Bay.
You could say that Jordan Love's performance this week was also a mid-moment for fans of the NFC North.
Like yourself.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward
It's
to
looking
it.
like the Packers have just figured it out at QB. You
Aaron
go from,
Rodgers just passed on the ownership stake.
Yeah,
It's all right.
you go from Favre to Rodgers, and then Rodgers goes, I'm moving on to New York, so I'll pass on the ownership stake to you. And it looks like Jordan Love is going to run the NFC North for years.
He's got
to
the
come.
deed to Chicago, but not Minneapolis. Just remember that. We'll get him.
We'll see.
We'll get him.
We'll
But
see.
we'll figure it out.
He's renting right now in Minneapolis,
Yeah, that's
but
fine.
he's leasing to own.
Eviction is coming. Eviction is coming. You just wait.
All right, Joe, what do we got?
All right, my mega moment is my favorite quarterback, as I said last week, because Jalen Hurts is back to sucking dick. So I'm taking C.J. Stroud, who, according to CBS Sports, is the youngest quarterback to win a playoff game ever. I thought Michael Vick might have been a little younger, but I don't know. I'm not an expert. He completed 76% of his passes. He had basically the same stat line as Jordan Love. 3 tutties against a much better defense. I think. You said they were the top defense in the league, I think.
Who, the Browns?
The Browns.
You said they were top 2.
They're top 2. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think
The DPOY.
well,
did not show
the
up.
back-to-back pick sixes really
Yeah, I mean, that's
hurt.
tough. That's tough. That's tough.
Miles Garrett wet the bed like usual.
What was his stat line? Did anybody look?
0-0-0.
No.
He led in PFF grade though. That's all that matters for DPOY. But anyways, he outdueled a quarterback with much more experience in his first ever playoff game, and I think he's cemented himself as the best rookie QB of all time with this performance. And he's part of my hot take later, so I won't get too much into that.
Hey, Miles Garrett had 2 solo tackles.
Oh wow!
Don't hate.
Give him the award.
Don't hate. They had 0 sacks all game.
Don't
No
worry.
sacks.
Don't worry though.
The
Miles
Browns had
Garrett
no
was
sacks.
double teamed for 60% of those snaps, so it's okay.
Laremy Tunsil showed out.
How many sacks did TJ Watt get? Let's
And
check.
fuck you.
Oh, wait.
As many as Miles Garrett, and he didn't even play.
That's fair. That's a good point. All right, let's move on to mid moments in this podcast. We always talk about it. You get the bad with the good, you get the ugly with the pretty, and we got to talk about the ugly. And I am going to my favorite place to hate on. Yee-hee, them Dallas Cowgirls, baby, are my mid moment this week after another colossal collapse in the playoffs. I don't even know what to say about them at this point. I really don't, because I hate on them all year. Everybody's like, no, this is the year Dallas is going to do it. This is the year. I'm starting to get worried. I'm like, oh, gosh, I'm going to have to listen to Cowboys fans because the Cowboys are actually going to do something this year. No, the fuck they didn't. They didn't show up again. As always, they come unprepared. They were looking ahead to the next game, and they got their ass blown out by the youngest team in the league, as Jack mentioned just a few moments ago, the first 7 seed to ever win a playoff game. Just a pitiful performance all around. They finished the season 12-5 and won their division. They were the winners of the NFC East this year at 12-5. You entered the wild card round, home game in Jerry's world, the house that Jerry literally built. Looks like your best chance at making a run this year that you have had in a long time, and you lose by 16. You would have lost by more than that, but you racked up some Derek Carr stats in garbage time. The Packers walked in there and they absolutely dominated from start to finish. They had the Cowboys defense, who was supposed to be top 5 in the league. Oh my gosh, they're amazing. They don't play well on the road, but at home, like, you can't fuck with them. No answer for Jordan Love, Aaron Jones, or Romeo Doubs. Aaron Jones and Jordan Love both finished with 3 TDs. The Packers put an absolute beat down on them in Jerry's world, and now that organization is back to disarray. Mike McCarthy will be fired. It's only a matter of time.
You think so?
I do. Yeah, and I'll get into...
Did you see Jerry? He was not happy.
I did not see Jerry.
They haven't seen him that mad since they passed the Civil Rights Act. I saw that meme.
Jerry was not happy.
I soaked tonight.
Pretty poised for a Jerry Jones interview after a loss like that. Like, he didn't... I thought he was just on the spot going to be like, Mike McCarthy's a bum. You will not see him leading my franchise anymore. He stayed composed, but Mike McCarthy will be job hunting again. And then the Cowboys really are going to be at a crossroads this offseason with where Jerry thinks the franchise is going to go. You've got Dak, who did what he said he was going to do in the regular season this year. I'm going to look at his stat line real quick just because I want to check something before I say it. But
I think he had like 7 or 8 picks.
I do believe he was under double-digit picks this year. So 4,516 passing yards. It was 3rd in the league. 36 passing TDs, which was 1st in the league. 9 interceptions. So he finished under that double-digit mark like he said he was going to, which was among qualified starters tied, I think, 2nd or 3rd. And then QBR, 72.6. He was 2nd in the league. So Dak put up MVP numbers this season, but again continues to show us that he cannot get it done in the playoffs. So
Do you think it's McCarthy's the problem, or do you think Dak's the problem?
Both.
If you can't
I-
say both,
If I can't
if
say
you had
both,
to keep, if you could only get rid of one,
I think for me, it would have to be McCarthy. I've been a huge Aaron Rodgers fan his entire career, and I think had it not been for McCarthy, Rodgers would have at least 2 Super Bowls.
yeah,
It just seems like
he's not a winner.
no, it just seems like any team that Mike McCarthy is coaching does not come prepared for playoff games.
Yeah,
Looks
And
like
it has been the theme of his career that he has the more talented teams in these matchups that he goes into. He's heavily favored, and then his team completely wets the bed like a 2-year-old.
they'll go get Bill Belichick. They'll be fine.
There's no way Bill goes there.
Dak will be in.
There's no way.
That'd be
There's
funny.
no way Bill and Jerry can coexist.
That'd be funny.
It'd be hilarious, but I think it'd be one of the worst failed experiments in the history of science.
Probably.
Dak will be an unrestricted free agent after next season.
So obviously they'll stick with him for one more year, but they're going to have a lot of questions at the end of next season. And I definitely think Mike McCarthy is out the door. There's no way Jerry sticks with him again after 2 collapses in the playoffs. I mean, their only playoff win in recent memory that I can think of is beating 45-year-old Tom Brady on his way out of the league last year. Other than that, I can't tell you the last time I've actually watched a Cowboys team do something that a Cowboys team was supposed to do. So
Hey,
Well, they haven't made the
Des caught it though, so that one should have been a W.
shoulda, coulda, woulda, but
I'm
they.
surprised Jerry doesn't just name himself head coach.
I've been waiting on it, honestly. I can't believe he hasn't done it yet. But the Cowboys, their collapse, just going from one looking like a contender to again getting beat in the first round. We're talking about this uber talented team that couldn't even make it to the divisional round. Absolutely pathetic performance all around. Coaching, Tony Pollard didn't play well.
Shocker.
Dak did not play well. CD, I think Michael.
good.
I think Michael Gallup was their leading receiver.
No, CD was their leading receiver. He had like 113. Gallup had 103. It was close though.
Gallup was leading through the third quarter when
Yeah.
I checked. So CD's yards were basically all garbage time. They didn't really mean much by the time he got there. So your stars didn't show up. That defense, who's supposed to be loaded, who's got Deron Bland, who's got DeMarcus Lawrence, who has Micah Parsons, who never shows up in the big moment, just is my mid moment of the week. But like, I'm actually, I see Stephen A. up here laughing about the
good
Cowboys
video.
loss, and I'm right there with him. I love hating on the Cowboys. I think it's funny they're America's team, but they can't win shit, and everybody seems to cheer for them or cheer against them, whoever they play. So them Dallas Cowgirls and the Yeehaws are going to be my mid moment of the week.
We touched on it very briefly in the mega moments, and I got some numbers I want to look at for my mid moment. My mid moment is the Cleveland Browns defense. This season at home, the Browns defense, 13.8 points allowed, about 210 yards per game allowed, 14 takeaways, and an 8-1 record. On the road, 31 points allowed, over 300 yards, the same amount of takeaways, and a 3-6 record. This elite number 1 defense in the league didn't show up on the road at all this year. It didn't show up on the road in Houston. Yes, I know there were 2 pick sixes, so that doesn't go against them, but
They still gave up 32,
the
30.
They still gave
The
up
Browns without
33
yeah,
points.
33.
They still gave up 33 points.
And they gave up 31. 14 of those points came off pick sixes.
12 of them. Well, 14 with the extra points, yeah.
So
30.
31 points.
Still gave up 4 TDs.
Foe.
Stroud in a playoff debut, almost 303 TDs. I mean,
Only 5 incompletions.
not Stroud. Flacco didn't play well, but you ain't gonna win no playoff game.
And we saw why Laramie Tunsil is the highest paid offensive lineman in the league.
Because
Yeah,
he
No sacks.
No sacks.
no sacks, no takeaways.
Nothing.
You give up 45 points. How more mid can you really get than that, right?
Only put up 14. Yeah, pretty pathetic against another very young team who went 3-13 last season. Jaquavius.
Well, we've been talking a lot about the playoffs. We're gonna move away. We're gonna move away from it.
Okay.
So
You're going to the NBA.
No, I'm
No.
going to the world of college football.
Oh.
No loyalty in these hoes. What does Drake say? No loyalty in the industry? Is that how that
No
goes?
friends in the industry.
No friends in the industry. Yeah.
Casual.
We go into Bama.
Let's hear it.
So we filmed this podcast last Wednesday. About 4 hours later, I think it was Wednesday. Did we film Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, we did film Wednesday, and then y'all had just left my apartment.
About 4
real
hours
quick
later.
though, let's give a quick round of applause to one of the greatest coaches in sports history, Nick Saban, on a happy retirement. Congratulations to Nick Saban on a hell of a career. One of the best to ever do it, and that's coming from a Georgia fan. So the game will sincerely miss you, and we wish you a happy retirement. But continue, Jack.
So about 4 hours after we finished filming the podcast, Nick Saban retired, which sent us into a bit of a spiral for about 30 minutes of just wild endeavors of
Awe and denial and
who's next.
celebration and
Yes.
What does the landscape look like next year
Jubilee.
without Nick Saban?
I was listening to something the day after the first round of the semifinals was over, and it was on another podcast, and they said that they made a $500 bet with each other that every single coach that was in the playoff would be every single team that was in the playoff would have a different coach come next year.
Washington,
Washington,
Bama,
Alabama, Michigan, and
Texas.
Texas.
Will not.
So, yeah, I think they thought that
I think
the
Harbaugh's going to
rotation
the
would
NFL,
go-
but we'll
yeah.
get into that later.
they thought the rotation was going to go like Sark to Bama, DeBoer to Texas, Harbaugh to the NFL, and Saban retire. Anyway,
Also, real quick though, who was talking about? It looked like Saban was kind of cherishing his moments early in the season, and it looked like he was on his way out the door. Who was kind of predicting that
he
one
was
there?
walking, making his rounds.
I was telling all y'all that he looked tired and that he looked like he looked happier than he normally does, even in real bad games. And then I kind of felt it was coming.
he watched Milroe play football and said, "Fuck,
I'm out.
this. I can't do this anymore."
Jalen Milroe forced him out of the game.
The last play he ever coached was a botched QB draw.
He's still on the staff though, so he's not fully retired.
He's still
Basically,
he's
the coach.
he's trying to just hold it together.
He's like a GM now.
Yeah. Anyway, the mid moment is Alabama's recruiting.
He's taking
Since
a deep dive.
January 2nd, so the day after their playoff game, so a couple days before he retired, they've had 22 players enter the portal, including at least 10 starters.
Also losing Dallas Turner and J.C. Latham to the draft.
They had like 10 or 12 guys go to the draft, and they have 5 decommits since Saban's retirement, including 3 5-stars and 2 4-stars.
One of the 4-stars flipped to Florida State yesterday.
Yep.
One of the edge rushers in next year's class.
On a different podcast, I heard a Georgia player say that he thinks that, which I agree with, that a lot of people are going to Alabama. They weren't going to Alabama to go to Alabama. They were going to Alabama to be coached by Saban.
We've been talking about that.
And now that he's not there,
They're going to
You're
play
gonna
where
watch-
they want to play.
right. So you're going to watch. And Bama doesn't have an NIL, like a big NIL. Like they're not in the top 10 in NIL. People were going there not for the money, but because they were going to get NFL ready and go work.
they were
like,
going to go
for
make their
Saban.
check
They
after
were
they
gonna-
left Alabama.
Yeah, they were going to get their bag
Yeah.
as soon as they left.
Like Texas, USC, UCLA, Florida State.
well, you've seen that penthouse, Caleb Williams.
They're
living
all
in USC
like
got
Ohio
that
State,
bread.
Michigan,
Probably A&M.
Georgia, A&M, LSU, Florida. They all have bigger NIL than
Pools than
Alabama.
Yep.
So you see all these recruits coming in, you're like, oh, it's just the money. It wasn't. And we're about to find out real quick that NIL was not the reason for it.
I knew that the whole time, though. I think
But
a lot of
people thought it
yeah,
was.
a lot of
it
people
was
were
money.
misconstruing that. It's no, you've got the best coach that college football has ever laid their eyes on, and he has produced more first-round talent than anybody else in college football over the last decade and a half.
Yeah.
Why would you not go there?
So mid-moment, Bama recruiting going forward. I'm sure we'll see a couple more guys enter the portal. I'm sure we'll see some more decommits. And I'm
Saw
sure we'll
Caleb
see
Downs enter the portal just this morning.
he'll be either a Buckeye or a Bulldog by the end of by the time we film next week, I'm sure.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs, hopefully. So yeah, Alabama recruiting. Happy for Saban. Happy for fans of the SEC. Not so happy if you're a Bama player. If you're a Bama fan.
DeBoer's been there a week and his timer's already ticking.
Well, he's not a very good recruiter.
No,
but he's a great on-field coach.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm also interested to see what kind of leash they've got him on.
You have to have a long, like, you're following Saban. You're not going to match the success. It's just not going to happen. So you have to give him some leeway. I'm just interested to see.
I think it's finally going to be funny to see Bama fans have to be fans of a team that is going to go through struggles, who is not a pretty much shoe-in for the Natty every single season, who is not an AP top 3 team every single season. I think that is going to be the most interesting, because obviously, like, the AD and Saban and all these guys know that it's impossible to fill Saban's shoes. You cannot. And he's the greatest to ever do it. We know that. What are Bama fans going to think, and what are Bama fans going to be calling for if DeBoer goes 8-4 in his first season at Alabama? What are we going to be looking at?
We thought this team this year was one of the less talented teams Saban ever had. Next year,
it's going to be the least talented.
Milroe's coming back, but they have no wide receiver no star wide receiver.
I would expect what's his name? Justice to jump in the portal.
Justice Haynes.
I would expect him to jump in the portal in the next
No
week.
running back.
Roydell Williams already left.
No
Chase
running
McClellan
back.
was
No
a
wide
senior.
receiver.
Yeah.
They're losing, I think, 3 offensive linemen to the draft.
The main one being Latham.
And they lost their center to the portal.
They're losing Turner. They lost Downs. They're losing Kool-Aid. They're losing Terrion Arnold.
They lost Des Ricks.
Lost Jake Pope.
This team is going to be
the next Nebraska.
Lost Caleb.
They won't go that far down. They will. I believe they will still be.
And they don't have a horrible schedule next year.
They'll still be a top 25 team next year.
They play,
but they might be like 21 next year. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bama outside of the top 15.
They have us.
Their first 3 games are cupcakes: Western Kentucky, South Florida, Wisconsin.
Their home SEC opener,
Georgia,
UGA,
week 4, Vandy, South Carolina.
I'm excited to catch them early next year.
Yeah.
Before DeBoer can really get rolling in that program, let's go ahead and catch them week 4 and smack them in the mouth.
They got Georgia, they got Tennessee on the road, they got Missouri, they got LSU on the road, Oklahoma on the road, and the Iron Bowl is usually an okay rivalry. I mean, it hasn't been in Tuscaloosa, but
Auburn's going to be better next year.
No, they won't be great next year.
I said they're going to be better.
I still think they're going to be like 5-7 or 4-8, but the following year they could have like a 8, 9, 10 win season.
They just got to change that quarterback spot because Peyton Thorne is not winning you any games.
And Robbie transferred yesterday to South Carolina. Yeah. So
they had a good recruiting class this year.
Yeah. They got two or 3 5-stars.
They had the number 1 wide receiver class.
Yeah, because they got a Bama flip. So
I know you don't watch much college football, but you might want to start because next year's going to be
interesting.
I think Bama's going to have 4 losses.
I could see them losing to Georgia. I could see them losing to
Missouri.
Tennessee or Missouri, one of those two.
Missouri is at home, though.
I could see them losing to us. I could see them losing to Oklahoma. I could see them.
They dodged Ole Miss. Ole Miss isn't Ole Miss is who I'd be worried about in the SEC. They got a cakewalk schedule. They dodged everyone. They dodged us. They dodged Bama. I think they dodged LSU.
We play them.
No, we
play them in Oxford.
They dodged us on the road is what I meant to say.
Their first 4 games are non-conference. Kentucky,
cake.
South Carolina,
cake.
At LSU,
not cake.
Home against Oklahoma,
pretty easy.
At Arkansas,
cake.
Home against Georgia, at Florida,
cake.
And then the Egg Bowl. They really just have to.
They probably have their floor is 9-3. The worst I could see them going is like a loss to us, LSU, and Florida.
Oklahoma.
Or
Oklahoma. But Oklahoma's going to be down.
No Dylan Gabriel.
They have
Jackson Arnold.
They have 5-star Jackson Arnold, but
other than that, they don't really have anybody.
Almost lost to UCF this year.
All right, let's get back to college football in a minute.
Oh yeah,
Joe, let's hit your mid moment. I know where you're going, but let's go ahead and hit it anyways.
My mid-moment is the Schittsburg Steelers, bruh. You go into the game as a massive underdog. You have extra days because they postponed the game. So you would think Mike Tomlin's going to have them boys riled up, ready to go in there and kick some ass. And what happened?
They got their ass kicked.
They went in there looking like chickens with their head cut off. They didn't know what to do. George Pickens, you're whining about the ball all the time, bitching, complaining. Your first touch, what do? You fumble it on our own 30-yard line. Then Pat Fryermuth gets the ball. We get bailed out by the refs on that one because the Bills recover that ball. Mason Rudolph throws an interception in our end zone. The Bills get 14 points off of turnovers, and then you're going to go to the media afterwards and say, we can't play the Bills and the refs at the same time. And shut the fuck up. I know y'all are Georgia fans, but George Pickens is a fucking bum.
He's a great receiver.
No,
just a
he's
diva.
not.
He's a diva. He's a great receiver.
Great receivers produce on the field and shut their mouth. He does not. He drops balls. He fumbles balls. He's barely a step above Deontay Johnson.
Do you think if he had a comparable quarterback,
The throws are there.
I didn't watch the game, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't really talk. I can't speak much on it because I didn't get to watch any
The
of it.
dude's a bum.
playing
If you're gonna
pickleball.
talk,
Was at
if
the
you're
gym.
gonna talk the talk, you have to be able to produce on the field, not drop balls and fumble balls. AJ Brown, when he's on the field, he produces, even though he talks.
You can't make that face. He was
You don't think he produces?
he was number 4 in the league this year in receiving yards.
I think it's only after he bitches his way to get targets.
Yeah,
he
but
George
grinds his
Pickens
way
had
into
11
targets.
targets in that game,
Did you
and
see?
he reeled in 5 of them.
Did you see Dallas Goedert ripping Hurts a new one and him just
on the
sitting there
sideline, and Hurts just sitting there like,
Shocker. That's what he always does.
continue, Joe. We're off track today as hell.
Yeah. Well,
Fuck.
people can say what they want about Mason Rudolph. The throws were there, and balls were just dropped. The only mistake he made the entire game was that red zone interception, which was a bad throw. But everything else, he didn't make another mistake the rest of the game. He put us in a position to win. We were within 7 points in the fourth quarter.
I saw
The
that.
game plan was fucked. Mike Tomlin, every time we go into a playoff game like this, whether it's this, our last Chiefs playoff game, or the Browns game before that, we come into the game ill-prepared and open the first half like we have no clue how to play football. The first half of the Browns game, or the first snap of the Browns
fumble
game.
in the end zone.
Yeah.
Or the fumble down to like the
Marquise Pouncey throws it over fucking Ben Roethlisberger's head. The Chiefs game, we actually started out strong that game, and then
That game ended 45-42.
our guts
didn't it?
got just obliterated from us, bro. Mike Tomlin is not a competent. He'll get you to. His ceiling is 9-8, and massive playoff disappointment, and you're gonna walk out of the post game interview. I'm done with it, man. I'm not a Steelers fan anymore. I'm a Bucks fan.
What if Baker leaves the Bucks though?
I'm a Baker. I can't.
You're just gonna follow Baker.
I'll follow Baker.
That's fine.
And I can't continue to root for such a bunch of losers who don't put in the work, and then you want to talk trash about the refs after the game when they're obviously not the reason you lost the game. So my mid moment is the sorry ass Pittsburgh Steelers, who are the next. They're only a couple years away from becoming the next Dallas Cowboys, the laughing stock of the NFL.
Really quick. I would expect the Colts are probably going to be sold here in the next year. Jim Irsay was reportedly found unresponsive in his house in December and has been dealing with extreme health conditions. Apparently, paramedics showed up and he was blue in the face and cold to the touch before receiving a dose of Narcan and becoming responsive again. And he has not been seen in the public since, and he's been dealing with numerous health conditions. So I would expect the Colts, for the Irsay family, to probably sell soon. So the Colts could be under new management in the next
Interesting.
little while.
Well, they found their coach.
Yeah.
We found their coach, but I want to talk to you real quick because I have my own quarterback issues with my own team. Even though you're not a fan anymore, we will talk about them because that has been who you have been rocking with. Do you think the Steelers should move forward with Mason Rudolph next year? Do you think they should try and address the quarterback need in the very slim free agent market, or do you think they go and try maybe and trade up or see if somebody like Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy is there when they pick in the first round?
You don't move on from Rudolph because he's going to need signed, and we're not going to be able to pay him because we got to pay T.J. Watt and Minka to do jack shit nothing, which is another. We're 1-11 without T.J. on the field since he's been in the league, so there's that. He's our entire defense. I think we are overdue for a season of tanking because we have gone 20 years without a good draft pick, without a high enough draft pick to get someone good. We were lucky as hell T.J. Watt fell to us, but that was our last. I think we got him at in the 20s somehow.
30.
30?
Number 30 in
Where'd
2017.
you draft Ben at?
That was 04. Ben was
Ben was a first rounder.
well, yeah, but I think he was number 4 overall.
Yeah, he was high.
So
But
that was the
our-
last. That
our
was the last
high
time you've had
draft pick.
a top 10 draft pick, probably.
because he came in the league. He came in his rookie year, led us to a 14-win season in an AFC Championship game, and we haven't had a losing season since then. Or maybe,
A couple
yeah,
years before that, I think actually, or no, because you got number 4. So it's interesting. I think we'll talk. Let's go ahead and talk some NFL, and then we'll get into some college after. The NFL is in a very interesting place heading into this offseason. You're either going to have a lot of competition next year, like we saw this year with, even week 18 games meaning a lot, or you're going to have very minimal competition, and it's going to happen like that. It's going to be very quick. You're either going to see a lot of teams fall straight down, or you're going to see a lot of teams have Texans-like years where they just kind of figure it out with young talent. Packers are another good one to point at. I think personally that if the coaching carousel does not go in the right direction, we're going to see a lot of teams be real bad next year. Maybe not record-wise, because not everybody can go 4-13, not everybody can go 6-11, but we're going to see a lot of bad games. We're going to see a lot of bad competition, and you're going to have just those few mainstays who have really only figured it out because they've got a tenured head coach and because they've got their franchise quarterback. I think the league is at a very pivotal moment right now. There's a couple things that need to be addressed. One, some of these owners need to quit being so damn impatient. You can't come in as a first-year head coach. Like, look at the Lions, for example. They still sucked ass Dan Campbell's first year, and they were still pretty ass last year. But you give him time. Now with Jared Goff, right, he comes in, you get a couple good draft picks, you get Aiden Hutchinson, you get Jahmyr Gibbs, you get Amon-Ra, you give him time to build his roster and build his culture, and look where they're at now, right? You look at the Texans, you were really, really bad. You find your head coach, you found your franchise quarterback, you got Will Anderson, you've had some guys step up who weren't, the most highly touted guys, in Nico, Tank Dell,
Brevin Jordan had a 76-yard screen touchdown.
You have those guys, right? You have those kinds of teams. You're also looking at, like, the Panthers, though, playing in the National Football League. You've got the New York Jets, who I think will be better with Rodgers next year, but still have a lot of issues to address on that team, issues that Aaron Rodgers himself cannot fix. You've got teams, you got the Giants, who are going to be looking at, do we stick with Daniel Jones, or do we take this, number 5 overall draft pick, and do we grab a quarterback if our guy is there? What are we doing on the defensive side of the ball? Is Brian Daboll still our guy? You've got teams like the Falcons who have all the talent except for their quarterback, and right now a head coach, and they haven't made a good head coaching hire in fucking ever. I can't tell you the last time we've made a really good head coaching hire. They could be 10-7, 11-6 next year, or they could repeat and have another 6-7 win season. You've got the Saints, who just fired their OC. I really am surprised that Dennis Allen has not been forced out of the door yet. You've got a bad Derek Carr contract.
That last game might have saved him a little bit.
Just a little bit. You've got a bad Derek Carr contract. You've got the Raiders still. You've got a lot of very mediocre teams.
I think the
right
Titans
now
are
in the
going to be
NFL.
one of the worst teams next year.
They're going to be bad.
I think
They're
you
gonna be
got a decent few teams in the league though who are just like 1 or 2 moves away from being able to compete.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like
Like the Falcons just need a quarterback. The
we need
Bears,
we need a quarterback. We need our coach. We need a real fucking coach, not Arthur Smith. We need a real coach.
the Bears, if they draft right, immediately put themselves.
The Bears, to
in a
me,
good
are
spot.
I think are going to be the most interesting team to watch in the offseason.
I think the NFC North will be the best division in football next year.
That was my fucking
And I
hot
think-
take. Thanks for throwing that out there. I really appreciate it.
My
I
bad.
think,
You got the North part right. just
and
not
like a
the
lot of
NFC.
teams, like a
That's
lot
the
of teams
best-
will
it's
be
the best
back to
division now.
competing next year.
the
Because
AFC East was the best division.
That's my thing, though, is it's at a really pivotal point. A lot of teams are either going to be back to competing next year, or we're
some
going to have a
teams
lot
like
of mediocre teams next year. It's going to go one way or the other. Like the Falcons are going to be good or they're going to be really bad. There's not going to be any in between. If they get the coaching part right and they find a competent quarterback, we don't need Lamar. We don't need Josh Allen right now to win football games, especially in our division with all the offensive talent we have. We need a good game manager, somebody who knows how to spread the ball around well, and somebody who can step up in the pocket. We don't need nothing crazy.
I'm just saying, like, the Bengals this year. We didn't have Joe Burrow. We would have competed if we had Burrow.
Maybe.
We went 9-8 with Jake Browning. So we would have obviously been better with Joe Burrow.
They're in the playoffs at least with Burrow.
Aaron Rodgers, the Jets had no Aaron Rodgers. They could have competed with, they got 6 or 7 wins with Trevor Siemian, Tim Boyle, and Zach Wilson.
But that's what I'm saying. Like in the league, there was
you've got other teams.
You can't have all these teams going 4 or 5 wins. I mean, look at the Bears. Even the Bears won 7 games this year.
I think there'll be more good
but they're
teams.
They're not competitive. Is my point. Like the Jets were not competitive this year. Yes, they won some games, but it's because, especially in the NFL this year, it looked like any given team could beat any given team on any given Sunday. So, like my thing is, I'm looking at a lot of these teams. Aaron Rodgers does not fix all of the Jets' problems next season. Like if the Jets do not fix their offensive line and find another outside weapon, they still are not going to be able to compete with the Dolphins or the Bills in their own division.
I think he would have made them competitive
if he could not get hit every 2 seconds, because
that's the problem. The offensive line is there. I'm just saying that I think the league is at a very pivotal moment right now, in terms of talent. The what's the word I'm looking for? The development of talent, and especially the quarterback position right now. The quarterback. I know we had a lot of injuries this year, but the quarterback position this year was the most mediocre I think we've seen in the 21st century. It was abysmal.
Is it a coincidence it's the year Brady left where all the quarterback play is? Maybe he was lifting everybody up.
I mean, you want to beat the best, right? And this year we haven't really seen anybody be the best. This is the first time where I can't even tell you like my MVP.
That's my hot take, so I'm going to tell you mine in a few minutes. But.
Okay. So, but I think the league is at an interesting point. What do you guys think?
About just like where the league is
just
going
where
forward?
The league is going forward.
I think we're going to see something similar to we did this year. So the team who has the 6th pick was 6-11, and the team who has the 18th pick was 9-8. That's a 3-game difference. I think we're going to see a lot of that where like
mediocrity.
There's not going to be like 1-16, 1-16, 1-16, 2-15, and then a big jump to like 9-8, 10-6. Like I think we're going to see a lot more. I think it makes it more competitive.
But is it more competitive because teams are better, or
it's because
more...
teams are? It's not because teams are worse. It's because all the teams are. The bad teams are getting better, and the good teams are kind of evening out. So I don't think it's because these teams are getting worse. Like the only team that I see getting worse is like
the
maybe
Titans
Tennessee.
Are going to be worse. They're going to be worse.
New England's going to be bad. They're probably getting worse, however you want to say it. But like if you look at a team like the Chargers, they're not going 5-12 next year. If you look at a team like the Bears, the Bears will probably make the playoffs. They're not going 7-10. Washington will be better than 4-13. They have a talented roster.
Maybe, but that's going to depend on their coach.
Yeah, Arizona's probably going to win more than 4 games next year, I would guess. Murray's going to be back.
Yeah. They address a few issues. They got to get somebody on the outside.
Probably get a receiver on the out. Probably get Marvin Harrison or Malik Neighbors, whoever's available to them at 4. The Giants will probably be about the same. The Falcons should win more than 7 games with the talent on their roster.
They should win the South next year with
the Jets
talent
should
on
win
the
more than
roster.
7 games with Aaron Rodgers. The Vikings should win more than 7 games with Kirk Cousins. I don't fucking know what Denver's going
going to be in the toilet.
Vegas is probably going to go down. Vegas is probably going to lose more than 8 games. They're more than 9 games.
You think they'll be
worse? Yeah.
You think they'll be worse than 7-9 next year?
8-9, but yeah. I think they'll be like 8-9, 7-10, somewhere in there. New Orleans will probably get worse. Indianapolis will get better. Anthony Richardson's.
I'm going to say this for my hot take, so I won't say that. I'll bring that around in a little bit. But
where do you think Seattle goes with Pete Carroll off the sideline?
Like head coaching was?
I saw
no, like just their performance on the field.
I still don't trust Geno Smith, so probably worse.
I maybe marginally worse because I saw an article saying that they might, or like a prediction for head coaching hires. The prediction for Seattle was Mike Vrabel.
I saw Dan Quinn.
I've been seeing a lot of Dan Quinn.
Which,
Dan
if
Quinn would be a
that's the
very
case-
Seattle hire. He seems like a Seattle.
Well, he's
coached
been in Seattle
there, yeah.
before.
I know.
He was
I know.
their
He feels like
DC.
he feels like a head coach there.
I think they get a lot worse with Dan if they hire Dan Quinn.
Speaking of predicting where teams are going to go do what they're going to do going forward,
Can't even fucking read this.
I've got a
ESPN
quick little thing that we've kind of touched on, but I'd like to touch on again now that we have more of a solidified draft order and all this stuff. First of all, just a little tidbit. Who do you think had the easiest schedule according to strength of schedule this year at the end of the season? So who had the easiest strength of schedule in the NFL?
Was it a good team?
I won't say. Just who has the easiest strength of schedule?
The Eagles.
The
no,
Eagles?
no.
No, hell
Eagles
no.
were on a gauntlet the last couple.
The easiest, it's going to be somebody like the Falcons.
It was the Falcons.
It was the
Yeah.
Falcons.
They had
yeah.
the easiest schedule by a lot too. Like it wasn't very close. Like New Orleans was just behind them, but after that it's like a drop. Anyway,
Our schedule gets tougher next year.
I'm gonna tell you a team, and I want you to tell me if you think they should draft, grab a free agent, or stick it out with their quarterback.
With their quarterback.
With their
Okay.
quarterback. So
I don't want
draft
to do
someone-
all 32
No.
teams. Pick some
Only
of the- okay.
only teams that are
Okay.
quarterback needy. Chicago. Obviously,
Stay.
this would be. You think they should stay with
They
Fields?
should ride it out with Fields. Their team gets better if they can go out and I saw a stat about Fields when he was targeting DJ Moore. When targeting DJ Moore, Justin Fields had a 76% completion percentage, like 1,000-something yards, 7 TDs, 0 picks. When targeting anyone else on that team, his completion percentage dropped at least 10%. So it was around 65, 66%. Same amount of TDs, I think less yards, and like 4 picks. So if they can go out and trade back 1, trade back 2,
Probably trade back more.
not if they want their outside guy, not if they want Marv.
You think they could trade back to-
Fields? Is you gotta pay him.
That's what I was about to say. If you think the thing is,
But their team gets better to me if they go out and they draft, even if they trade back even more, right? They go out and they draft Marv, Keon Coleman, or Malik Neighbors.
Keon Coleman will not be a top 15 pick.
You don't think so?
His stock is plummeting right now.
Odunze. Let's say
Odunze
Odunze.
is a top 10 pick right now.
Odunze, Malik
Neighbors.
Neighbors, or Marv. If they can get one of those 3 guys and give Fields another threat on the outside, and then they go get another edge guy to put on the other side of Montez Sweat in Dallas they're going to have their pick at 10 of who they want at edge rusher. Or 11. They're
Yeah,
picking
you're
10 or
probably not
11
going to see a defensive player go off the board until
until that Bears pick.
8 or 9. Yeah, the Falcons
And-
could go edge. They're either going edge or quarterback.
Or corner, though. I've seen a lot of people having us
But-
taking a corner
But
because
who's to going that high? Terrian Arnold?
The Iowa
Kool-Aid.
He might. Kool-Aid's not. If they put Kool-Aid at 8, I would be pissed if I was a Falcons fan.
I'm not happy. Right now, I'm not happy about anywhere we can go. Okay, but continue.
right, so
I
stay,
think
stay,
the
stay?
Yeah, I think the Bears get better with a good draft without drafting a quarterback. I think they get better.
Okay,
If you're
some of
one
these.
now.
Drafting Caleb it doesn't change anything.
Yeah, some of these are going to be easier than others. Washington.
Stay.
You stay with Howell at 2. You have the second pick and you stay.
Look at what he did this year with how bad the offensive line was, man. He wasn't even a bottom 5 quarterback in the league this year with how bad
He made
that
some
offensive
bad
line
decisions,
is.
though.
But so if you think Chicago and Washington should stay, where does that leave the draft?
I think Washington should trade up and get Caleb because
I agree. That's what I think they should do. And then I think Chicago should take one step back and take Marvin.
Yeah,
I just think there's so many needs to address on that Washington team, and it's not like
You think if they
Sam Howell doesn't have the talent.
I think Sam Howell's great. I think he's a starter.
what do you think they would get out of him if they traded Howell?
Not much.
I don't know. And I don't know who you like.
they didn't
They
invest
could trade
much
him
into him.
They could trade him to the Steelers.
The
They could
Falcons,
trade him to the
Falcons
Falcons.
might be in the market for him.
I mean, they got him for what? Is he a fourth round
Rounder.
draft
Yeah,
pick?
but he had like a second round grade. He tumbled for like no reason.
He's not gonna. I mean, they're not gonna get a. They're not getting a first. I don't even think they're getting a second for him. They might get like a third.
They could
and
get a
like-
second and a fifth probably.
I'm
if you
thinking
get
like
that,
third and a
that's a
sixth.
positive ROI for him.
If you get anything better than a 4th round pick for him, you've got a great
And you
ROI.
get Caleb.
So you say stick it out with Howell.
I don't know.
I'm at the same place as I am with the Bears. I think their team can get better if they
Honestly,
go a different way.
probably
In the short term, yeah, but like
trade back a
in the
couple
long
picks,
term,
take an O lineman, sign a free agent QB.
Okay.
I think they should trade up and get Caleb.
Okay. New England.
They got to draft. They
Okay.
have to.
They
Okay.
won't pay anybody.
They're not. There's nobody out there to pay. They're not in win now mode, so it doesn't make sense to go pay Kirk $60 million for 2 seasons. And there's not really anybody else out there on the market. You got to draft right now. You got to give your new head coach an opportunity at least.
Like they are
Yeah.
here.
They need to just catch it.
They just
they
need to.
need to
They
just-
need to hit the bottom and flatten out,
Yeah.
so
they
they
just
can
need to-
start working back up.
What do you think?
Well, if Washington's trading
Washington.
Sam Howell,
Yeah.
trade Sam Howell to the Patriots.
There you go. So I'm just going in draft order right now. I'll skip a couple like Arizona. We don't need Chargers. The Giants. Stick it out. So also when I'm saying draft, keep in mind where they are now at this point because I'm going in order. The Giants are at 6. So Caleb and Drake are off the board. You look at maybe Jaden Daniels, Penix, and then Nick's sneaks.
There's no way Nick. If Nick gets picked top 15, an NFL GM needs to be fired.
I'll tell you where I think he's going to go in a second.
That's a terrible pick, top 10.
I agree. But Giants, do you think they stick out with Jones? You think they should?
I think they should stick it out with Jones.
Okay.
I think you have to.
Okay.
You
They pay-
you decided to pay him over paying Saquon.
Yeah.
I think you have to ride with that decision. You also he
And
took
if
you to the playoffs last year,
I was gonna say they made the playoffs with him. If you
and then you gave him no chance this
if
year.
you draft an O lineman, you shore up.
If you draft an O lineman, that O line becomes immediately if they get Joe Alt at 6,
Andrew Thomas was also out for most of the season for them dealing with injury. So you get him back.
you have Andrew on the left, Joe Alt on the right, and then kick Evan Nealon to guard, and that O line immediately becomes a top 10 offensive line in football.
You've then got Saquon.
And then
They're probably going to end up franchise tagging Saquon again next year. And I'm going to get into more about the NFL market here in a little bit. That's going to be my hot take. But yes, I think with his contract, with you deciding to pay him over Saquon, with the fact that he did take you to the playoffs last year, and then you gave him no protection this year, and he broke his damn neck.
And he
tore up his fucking knee and his shoulder. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
the dude looked like he got hit by a car.
Yeah.
You've got to ride it out.
And
You've got to
then-
stick that one out.
They'll have what pick will they have in the second round?
If it's 6, it'll be 38.
38.
If they still have it, I don't know if they have it.
You could draft an O lineman, and then in the second round you could get somebody who's gonna fall like
Like a Xavier
like
Worthy.
Brian Thomas. I've seen some mock drafts have Brian Thomas fall out of the first.
If
Xavier.
Brian Thomas is there when the Chiefs are still picking, the Chiefs
Chiefs
will
are taking
take
him.
Brian Thomas.
I don't want him to go to the Chiefs because I want to root for him, but I don't want to
Xavier
root for the Chiefs.
Worthy. You got Troy Franklin in the second round.
A.D. Mitchell.
You can go out and get you another receiver for them.
I'd address
Or
the corner
T
position.
Higgins is probably going to leave Cincinnati because I don't know if we got enough
Might go
money to
sign
pay
him.
Could get T. Could get
What do you think, Joe?
No, I think they should ride Vanilla Vic since they already paid him.
That's what
Okay.
I'm thinking. You paid him. You have to.
All right, Atlanta.
You have to.
I'm assuming it's either Fields or Howell or draft. I'm assuming free agency really isn't an
Fields,
option.
Howell, or Kirk.
No draft.
I would, as an LSU fan, I think
Here's
it'd be
my-
dope to see Jaden Daniels in Atlanta.
Here's my problem. If I will, my issue is right now, I don't mind the Jaden pick because he has the talent, but he's not NFL ready. And I think you're just going to, especially with a first year coach too, I think it's really going to be hard to set him up for success if he has to start right away in Atlanta. I think it's going to be tough. Now, if you could get Jaden at 8 and then you could go out and get like a Kirk Cousins and have Jaden sit behind Kirk for the next 2 years, then I say draft and sign. My problem is I just think it's going to be so hard for a first-year guy in our system with a first-year head coach.
Go get Flacco.
Or Russ.
Just go
He's
sign
so
Flacco.
old.
I think
Yeah, but you're not using him to start. You're using him to help. Like he's
Having-
serviceable.
having all those weapons could help
I think
expedite the process. You
I
know,
think
it's a lot easier to
the-
improve in the NFL when you got Drake, when you got Kyle Pitts, when you got Bijan.
I just think the idea behind throwing a quarterback into the fire has been really I don't know what the word is, but It's
haven't
not
seen
as
ma-
bad, but it's not as bad as people make it seem.
We
if
haven't seen many people
are
succeed,
patient.
though.
But if it's because GMs aren't patient. Like you saw Josh Rosen get thrown right in the fire. He wasn't great, but he got thrown right in the fire instead of sitting. Cardinals weren't patient. They got the first pick next year. Quarterback, go.
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson got thrown right in the fire. They weren't patient.
Who else? Oh, we've seen T-Law got thrown right in. I mean, he
was
kind of
okay,
panned out, but he
you just
hasn't.
like.
But
if
then he got
none of them.
He had Urban Meyer.
And also, if you look around the other guys on those teams, they didn't have any talent. Like the Jets had.
we
nothing.
have talent.
Exactly. So I think throwing Jaden Daniels or a quarterback.
My problem with telling you straight up draft is that I don't want Penix, and I don't want Bo Nix. Bo
think
Nix
it's
is
a-
such a reach at 8; it's insane.
Well, I think you have to trade up to get Daniels.
That's what I don't know what we're gonna
You
have
don't
to
think
give up
he'll
for
be there
him.
at 8?
No,
Who's going to take him?
Somebody.
somebody.
Because you got
1, 2, 3. If they don't trade out, they'll take Williams. They'll take May. They'll take Jaden.
But if Chicago trades out, like you
He
think,
might
It'll
be
go.
there.
It'll go Caleb,
Drake May.
Drake May, and then
The
I
only
honestly could see the Giants taking Jaden Daniels
if he's there, they might.
because that's another. You can sit him if you don't think he's NFL ready. You can sit behind Daniel for 2 years.
You're gonna have to trade up, and that's why I'm a little hesitant to say draft because I don't know what we're gonna have to give up to get that pick, and I don't want to give up any of our offensive skill positions. There's too much talent there. You can do a lot more with that talent than you can giving up so many assets and first round picks and reaching on a
you'd have
guy
to
who
trade up
had
to,
one
like-
good season.
Yeah. What do you think?
For the Falcons?
I'm gonna say trade or free agent signing
So
for
stay away
now.
from the draft.
Just because I don't think we're going to be able to get who I think we need at 8.
Okay.
I say draft.
I think if Jaden Daniels is there, they should draft him. But I think they're going to draft a quarterback anyways. And I have a feeling they're going to end up with Bo Nix. Just a feeling.
All right.
Unfortunately, I have seen Michael Penix, who I
Really?
just after watching him against that Michigan defense, he doesn't do well having to move out of the pocket.
He's just been
His
just gotten hurt.
throwing motion is a little slow. He's really got to get that here. It's almost like a pitcher, like having to. I mean, I'm not lefty, so I have to do it righty, but it's kind of like a pitcher, like loading up to get all of that. He's having to do the same thing.
He's basically Tua with a better deep ball.
His deep ball is not good. That's the misconception about him. His deep ball is not that good.
You know,
It's pretty. It looks good, but it's not accurate.
you know whose deep ball is good?
Jaden
Jaden Daniels.
All right,
He had probably the best deep ball in college
You know
football.
who
It's
else
pretty easy to
wasn't
throw a
NFL
D ball
ready?
when your wide receivers are wide open.
You know who else they said wasn't NFL ready? Lamar Jackson.
It's true.
And look at him now.
I just think they said he was a running back.
Jaden Daniels
Oh, he
will be
is,
the
bro.
next Lamar Jackson.
All right,
I'm
we'll
telling
do
you.
we'll do 5 more and we'll
reach.
make them quick because these all these teams are interesting situations. Minnesota,
Where's their pick at?
11.
No.
So we're looking at Nix or Penix probably if we're gonna draft or McCarthy.
Sign Kirk for 2 years.
I agree. That's what I said.
Draft
2
a
years.
QB. Let him sit behind Kirk.
Is there
Pull a
prob-
Rogers Love situation.
I would probably just hold on.
to
'Cause-
Kirk.
Yeah.
You're
'Cause I don't-
not drafting nobody though.
No.
You don't want nobody to because
You're not
Kirk's
going to
got
get a high enough draft pick if Kirk stays healthy, though.
I want an edge rusher. I don't think any quarterback's gonna be worth it at 11 for Minnesota. For
Yeah,
other
like, you
teams,
could-
maybe we're in win now mode. We can win now.
Yeah, like you could get Bo Nix, but why would you waste a number 11 pick on something that you're not going to use for 2 years when you need to?
only reason I said that is because you've got 2, maybe 3 good years left from Kirk. More than likely,
I want to win before Jefferson asks out. Because if we keep losing, he's gonna ask
So
out.
like a year and a half.
Yeah, I want to win now.
And like
Okay.
Kirk still has some left in the tank, so you might as well go put all your chips in
Draft an
now
edge rusher. Go draft Jared Verse,
And try
Leatu
and-
Latu, Dallas Turner, someone.
and try and go get that Super Bowl.
That's
while
my
you-
problem with drafting a quarterback this year is we haven't had a damn edge rusher since John Abraham. And the last real big season I can think of him having was 2012 when we played the Niners in the NFC Championship.
Vic too.
And there's
Sleep
so
on Vic.
Vic Beasley.
but he had one good season and then we started dropping him back into fucking coverage like a bunch of idiots and he sucked.
Do y'all have Bud Dupree?
Yeah.
How do you like that? That guy.
He played pretty well for us this year.
Yeah,
he was
well,
pretty
he's a
solid.
bum.
All right,
I agree.
Minnesota. Just resign
I mean,
Kirk.
Yeah, resign Kirk and
Okay.
then draft win now. Get Kirk a Super Bowl.
Denver.
Draft.
Where are they drafting at?
12.
Get Bo.
this is where I think Bo Nix goes.
You have to draft.
This is where
You have
he
to.
feels like such a Denver player to
You
me.
have
I don't
to.
know why.
It
but
looks
Bo
like
Nix
they
feels
might
like
end up with
Denver.
Russ next season anyways.
Nobody's gonna. I mean, they might just cut him.
I don't think you can. I
They
don't think
might.
you can
I think Sean Payton hates him enough to just.
Yeah.
to spend all that money in dead cap, dude.
I think he'd be
we're
a.
talking
I think
about-
he'd be a perfect mentor for Bo Nix. I
That's
just think
what,
it's
but
gonna
that's what I'm
depend on-
saying. So if you keep Russ, draft a quarterback. If you are getting rid of Russ,
It just Sean Payton's so.
anti-Russ.
Anti-Russ,
Yeah, no,
like,
he
it just
fucking
depends.
hates him.
This one's tough because
I'll say regardless, draft Bo.
look for a free agent.
Look for a free agent. Okay. Vegas. You got Aiden O'Connell and Jimmy G on the roster. Drafting
And
at
Jimmy
13.
G at that terrible contract.
Drafting at 13.
I am gonna say that one's that one might be the toughest one on here, and
I
here's
go.
why.
I know what I
Go
want to
ahead.
do. I'm rocking with Aiden O'Connell for another year. If he sucks, then we get a top 5 pick probably,
And
and
you
we
can
get a
get,
great
like-
quarterback next
You
year.
can get like Quinn Ewers
At
Yeah.
13 or Carson Beck.
Mm-hmm.
At 13.
It's
or
gonna be
Garrett
a
Nussmeier.
At 13.
Carson Beck is gonna be
top,
he is a
top 3, top 5 pick for sure.
he's a prototypical NFL quarterback.
So at 13, you're not getting any of your guys. You're not getting I mean, Penix will be there, but do you really want to take a shot on Penix if you're Vegas in such a volatile
Yeah, you've already
market?
spent a bunch of money on a injury-prone QB and Jimmy G. Do you
I
want to waste
ride
him?
with Aiden O'Connell. I think he had showed flashes that he could be a real NFL quarterback. So
I think you convinced me. So I'm gonna say rock with Aiden O'Connell because I've got Spotrac pulled up here.
Spot rack.
Here are your. Is it Spot Rack?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought it was Spotrac, but anyways, these are your NFL free agent quarterbacks this upcoming season: Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill,
if he gets a job anywhere, I'll be pissed off.
Jacoby Brissett,
Yeah, don't sleep on Jacoby.
31-year-old Jacoby
He's
Brissett,
30. That's old black don't crack.
Tyrod Taylor retired,
He retired. Oh yeah.
30-year-old Marcus Mariota,
Hell no.
26-year-old Sam Darnold,
Darnold could have a job somewhere.
He's never got a second
30-year-old
chance.
Jameis Winston,
Give me that.
He'll have a good backup. Go send him to
27-year-old Drew Lock,
I like
Pittsburgh.
Drew
He
Lock.
could have a job too. Dang, a lot of these younger guys.
29-year-old Baker. There's no way
He'll
the Bucs
get
let
re-signed,
him
yeah.
walk
Re-signed.
after this year.
He'll get re-signed.
You got Gardner Minshew. No, Tyrod didn't retire. Tyrod will be on the market. Teddy Bridgewater retired.
That's
Yeah.
what I was like. Wait, Tyra? Yeah. Teddy's out.
They're basically the same
26-year-old
quarterback.
26-year-old Tyler Huntley.
No job.
39-year-old Joe Flacco.
Homeless.
29-year-old Joshua Dobbs.
No one.
28-year-old Easton Stick.
Nope.
30-year-old Nate Sudfield.
You can stop.
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert, Josh Johnson. The only other quarterback down here that actually has some upside to him is Carson Wentz. But he's
No.
31 right now.
Damn, that's crazy.
There's just no free agents.
Wasn't he drafted the same year as Goff?
Mm-hmm.
Is Goff that old?
Yeah, Goff's
Goff's like
30.
30.
Damn, dude.
There is
We're getting old, is what it is.
yeah.
Oh,
There's no free agents. So you convinced me on your spiel too, especially I think they're gonna hire AP. Sounds like it.
If they don't,
If they
They're-
don't, Mark Davis is the worst owner in sports.
Well, Max Crosby already said he's gone.
he
if-
said he's literally leaving.
I don't think there's
hire
any
him.
way. So I think you let AP see what he can do with Aiden O'Connell. I mean, wasn't he the guy who made the decision to bench Jimmy?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And I won't say it didn't work out for him. I mean, they still won
They
8
put him-
games?
Yeah.
They still won
I-
8 games.
Hey, Aiden O'Connell's the first rookie quarterback to ever beat Patrick Mahomes.
It's true.
I agree with you there. I think you just ride it out with Aiden O'Connell one more year. If you're really bad, cool, you get a good draft pick so you can go get your guy next year because it's going to be a pretty good quarterback class. A lot more prototypical NFL pocket passers, which is the Raiders do not need a mobile quarterback. That's not Raiders football.
They just need someone.
Raiders football is hard-nosed, run it down your fucking throat, play action.
and if you're bad, Devontae's gonna want out.
Yeah.
You get a lot for Devontae.
He
They
might, he,
re-sign
might, he might get traded to the Jets.
And you free up
anyways.
some cap space. So
You get a couple picks.
I would say rock with Aiden.
Rock with Aiden.
I would rock with Aiden unless there's a way they can get Sam Howell in a trade.
Got it. That's fair. All right, 2 more. New Orleans.
Got to stick
You
it
have
out.
to stick it out.
Stick it out.
You
They
have
can't
that.
pay
You
anybody.
can't move off that contract.
Okay.
Just as bad as the Russ
you don't
contract.
want to draft anybody underneath. Like if Penix is there at 14.
I don't think Derek
You
Carr
gotta-
can teach Penix anything.
You have to
Jameis can.
with the Derek Carr contract, with the Saints, with your defense still being good, but some of your guys on their way out, like Cam Jordan,
He'll be
like
gone.
Marshawn Lattimore.
He'll be there.
I think you
The-
have
what's the linebacker's name? Demario Davis will be gone.
You've got one more year with all those guys.
I
They're
think
not.
they're
They're not
gone.
retiring yet.
Not retiring. I think they're
They're
the
not.
trade or
Cam Jordan is a lifetime Saint.
It's either
He'll
tank. It's either
restructure.
tank or trade.
I think you've got to rock with Derek Carr. You can't move off that, and you have to be in win now mode, especially with all the questions that are going to be flying around the NFC South. The Panthers are still going to suck ass next year.
Yeah.
We can either be really good or very mediocre again, depending on the coaching hire and the quarterback that we get. And the Bucs are going to be the Bucs. I think they're a 9-8, 10-7 team. So I think you've got a lot more needs to address that are not quarterback right now. So I'm going to say ride it out.
Do you say? Yeah. Okay.
Ride it out.
Write it out.
Ride him.
That's
All
right.
So we're gonna skip over Seattle, although I think that's an interesting one. I think you stick it out probably.
You got to ride with Geno.
Last one. We talked about it briefly. Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you do? Do you ride with Mason? Do you ride with Kenny? Do you
No.
draft? Do you ride with Mitch? Do you draft? Do you look in free agency? Do you look for a trade?
Free agency or trade.
So
Or
at
Pittsburgh's
at
only two
20,
options.
At 20, if Penix is there,
That's not a Pittsburgh pick.
if McCarthy's there,
That's a Pittsburgh pick.
if Bo Nix is there,
Another Pittsburgh
if
pick.
Bo's there, I draft him. I don't like McCarthy. I like Bo. If Bo's there, you draft him.
That's definitely it's a Pittsburgh pick. I would say for Pittsburgh,
Like, are you looking at like Howell? Are you looking at? Like,
I don't know where they're going, to be
Darnold?
honest. I have no
Trade
idea.
Lance.
I know exactly what's
I
gonna
think
happen.
they're in kind of the same spot the Falcons are right now. Like, except I think we have more offensive talent than the Steelers do.
And your offensive talent doesn't whine all the fucking time.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any complainers for as little production as Kyle Pitts was
Imagine
able to
if,
get this
imagine
year.
if Kyle Pitts got the shitty, or if George Pickens got the shitty throws that Kyle Pitts gets, bro. It would be the end of. It would be the end of.
Yeah, I talked to y'all about that, right? That Kyle Pitts
Yeah.
had like 52 catches on 84 targets and only had 4 drops this season.
You would never hear the end of it if that was George Pickens' stats.
I think they're kind of in that same situation as us. Like there's a lot of different ways they can go, and I don't think any of them are right or wrong. I think it's just going to they're going to have to make a decision and just kind of stick with it, see how it goes.
I have an interesting thought. Okay, really quick. Oh, actually, I'll say it after. What do you think the Steelers should do?
If there's if there's somebody there, draft him.
Okay.
Like if Bo Nix is there,
Y'all
draft
hold
Bo
on.
Nix.
Y'all continue on this conversation for a second. I've got a pee so damn bad, so I will
Okay.
be back in just a second. Y'all can continue here.
It's the first ever pee break on From the Stands.
I know.
That is true.
I've been trying to hold off on him, but
He got that weak bladder.
it's that ghost, man. That shit makes me have to piss.
All right. What do you think?
What do I think they should do?
What do
do
you
think is
What do
gonna
you
happen?
know is going to happen, and what do you think they should do?
All right. Well, what I think they should do is
20th overall pick.
draft somebody. We're gonna
Not name McCarthy, I assume.
I don't care. Just let him sit. I mean, our first round drafts normally are not that great.
Yep.
Our best one in recent memory was TJ, and Najee, kinda. He's decent.
Close was before that. Tremaine Edmonds. Tremaine Edmonds was the first rounder for
That
y'all.
was Terrell.
Terrell.
Tremaine is
was
on the Bills.
Now he's
Nah,
there.
he was a bust. We got
Devin
that.
Bush.
Devin
Yeah,
Bush.
Devin Bush. He was actually good until he got hurt, but that injury ruined him. Shazier, injury ruined him. Then we had the cornerback Artie Burns, who sucked fucking dick, dude.
He's fast though. He's fast.
yeah,
Fast
so,
Madden card.
So was what's that guy that wore number? It's not Eli Rogers.
Antonio Rogers Cromartie.
no,
no,
for
no,
the
no.
Steelers.
Dre Archer.
Dre Archer, yeah.
Fastest,
That
best
dude.
Madden mobile player of all time.
That
Oh.
was when Madden Mobile was good.
Madden 15. Madden Mobile
Yes.
15.
Yeah.
Was
The Madden
elite,
Mobile
and
with the
14.
OBJ logo.
That's 15.
With OBJ.
No, is that 15?
it's 15 or 16.
16.
Madden Mobile with OBJ on the cover
I like the one with Sherman.
was the
The Madden Mobile
Yeah.
with Sherman was elite. Anyway.
when the red cards were the elite
yes.
cards.
Oh,
God, they ruined
Bring back Madden
You
Mobile.
ruined Madden Mobile.
bring it back.
Dude, they did ruin that shit.
Anyway, what do you think they're going to do?
Well, what's gonna happen is Tomlin's gonna come out of his press conference and they're gonna say, "So what does the quarterback situation look like for this year?" And he's gonna say, "Well, we're just gonna stick by the standard. Mason Rudolph, signed him to an extension. We're gonna have Mason and Kenny go to offseason and compete. And what that means is Kenny Pickett's a starter, Mason Rudolph is the guaranteed backup, and we're gonna ride this season with Kenny Pickett and get another 9-8 season.
I'm going to win another $50.
Tomlin has an 18th straight non-losing season.
Oh yeah, I need to see that exchanged on an episode. By the way,
I might have it right now.
Here we go. This is it. Good job.
Yes.
Nice win.
Bet against Kenny Pickett.
All right. Real quick. Last thing on the draft, or last thing on potentially the draft.
okay,
I have a scenario for you. You're a Falcons fan.
100%, ride or die.
Steelers fan.
Unfortunately,
No.
You're a Steelers.
you're gonna be a
Ex-fan.
fan next year. You'll be a fan. You said
All
it
right.
last year.
So we're neutral here. From each side of this, are you saying yes or no? I just thought of this trade. Okay. You trade. You sign. First of all, you get Justin Fields. You trade for Justin Fields for a second rounder and a fourth rounder.
I like that
Okay.
trade.
You trade. So you trade with the Bears. Whatever. That's done. You have Justin Fields on your roster.
Okay,
You trade George Pickens.
Yes.
George Pickens and the 20th overall pick to Atlanta for 8. Do
Okay.
you say yes?
do I agree?
Do you say yes to that trade if you're the Falcons GM? You get Pickens and pick 20. They get pick 8,
And I have Justin.
and you have Justin.
That sounds like my dream scenario.
What about you?
I
You
hate
and
George Pickens, so
Jaden's up there. If Jaden's there at 8,
I don't know.
if Bo Nix is there,
Man, Mike Tomlin is not good with offenses, bro. He's still running the same offense he was running with Terry Bradshaw, man.
Oh shit!
So you're taking. Would you take the deal?
If we could get rid of Tomlin and bring in like an actual offensive coach, maybe.
I think we should make it happen.
I'm taking that trade, and I'll tell you why. One, you get your quarterback. I don't think Fields has been given a real opportunity yet in Chicago. I think he finally had his first settled in. They kind of figured out what their offense was. Matt Eberflus kind of figured out how to coach football.
I think I hurt.
And he got hurt, and then he comes back, and he played well to end the season. Then you get pick 20, and all of your questions about, because this has been the fucking problem for the Falcons the last few years, you have had a pick where there's no good way to go.
Yeah.
Like 8 last year. I can't say that Bijan was a bad pick. He had 1,483 yards
I don't
from
know how they
scrimmage
didn't go Jalen Carter. I was sitting there.
I don't understand it
Jalen
either,
Carter,
but I can't be mad at Bijan. He had 8 TDs, 252 total touches, and 1,483 yards from scrimmage this year.
I felt like that was a media pick. I felt like that was a popularity pick.
Could have been, but then you go
Kyle.
you go the year before, you have 8 again. They're really you really just don't know where to go, so you just pick here, and I'll kind of explain.
They're either going edge or quarterback. I
But
see no other option.
What I like about the scenario that you just proposed, you don't know what really is going to be available to you at 8.
20?
At
Or
8.
Oh, you don't. And
At
you-
20, though, Chop is still going to be on the board.
it'll be close.
Latu might still be on the board.
Also, will be close, but probably.
There will be an edge rusher at 20.
and edge because you'll
And
probably see the
that-
Vikings go edge. The Jets will probably go line.
The Jets have to go line. If
The
the
Bears.
Jets, the Bears are picking an edge guy with that pick regardless.
So we got Bears, Vikings. All these teams do need edge though. Denver needs an edge rusher.
They got many more needs to address.
Vegas,
Again, more needs to address.
New Orleans.
They're going to take Brock Bowers, unfortunately.
Brock Bowers will be going number 5. Book it.
I think the Chargers are going to take an O-lineman.
Mm-mm. Book it. I'll put money on it that Brock Bowers goes at number 5.
Here has been our problem in the drafts recently. So we picked at 8 when we took Drake London, right? So ahead of Drake, you had obviously Trayvon went 1,
Bust.
and then he had 10.5 sacks
Aiden
this
Hutchinson.
season. You had Aiden Hutchinson, Stingley, Sauce, Thibodeau, Ekwonu, Neal, and then Drake London, right? There was no reason to trade up in that draft. After him, I feel like there's only one other pick that I'm looking at inside the top 20 here that I would have wanted to go. I'm cool with missing out on Charles Cross, who went 9.
He's been a good lineman, but you don't.
But
really need
our
him.
line has not been our problem.
Yep.
I think Drake London is just as talented as Garrett Wilson. Just they both had trash cans thrown into them. So
I guess it doesn't really make a difference.
I think Olave, Garrett Wilson, and Drake London are all pretty much on the same talent scale.
I'd take London. I'd take both of them over him, but I wouldn't. The discrepancy isn't crazy.
Again, I haven't seen Drake London with a competent quarterback yet.
Yeah.
Neither Garrett Wilson though.
That's what I'm saying,
Chris
though.
Olave.
Yeah.
Chris
Chris
Olave's
Olave's,
had
yeah.
the best QB situation out of the 3.
He got fucked up. Or he
But
got
so,
messed up.
okay, let's say for
It doesn't
whatever
matter.
it,
Yeah.
that pick doesn't matter. Those are
Okay.
just 2 more wide receivers. Jamison Williams was a terrible pick at 12.
He's been getting better.
You could have had Jordan Davis, but again,
I'd rather have Jordan Davis.
DT wasn't a need
I
then,
guess
though.
Jarrett, yeah.
The only guy that I saw inside the top 20 that I would have been like, damn, that would have been a fantastic pick for us was at 14,
Kyle
the Ravens
Hamilton?
took Kyle
Yeah,
Hamilton.
I knew
that
it.
would have been a fantastic pick at 8.
Yep.
But there's a reason he was picked at 14, right? There were some questions there. After that, Kenyon Green, I'm
He's been
okay.
pretty solid, I think.
Again, offensive line has not
okay.
been our
He's
area
Texans,
of need.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Out of A&M.
Jahan Dotson, Zion Johnson, Traylon Burks, Trevor Penning, and Kenny Pickett.
Keep going.
So-
Who's the rest of that draft?
Trent McDuffie,
Yeah.
Quay Walker, Kyer Elam,
He's been shit.
Tyler Smith.
He's
Again,
been really good.
We didn't need offensive line, though.
You
Not-
needed a guard.
Not
Another
at
one.
8. And Tyler Smith's a tackle.
He plays guard.
Tyler Linderbaum. That would have been a good pick.
That's another guard. Him and Tyler
But
Smith.
again,
I think him and Tyler
That's a
Smith.
reach at 8 is the problem. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then
you don't take guards in the top.
Jermaine Johnson, Devin Lloyd, Devontae Wyatt was nowhere near a top 10 pick. Love him. He wasn't a top 10 pick. Cole Strange,
He's been okay.
George Karlaftis,
He's been okay.
Daxton Hill,
This draft was kind of weak.
and Lewis Seen.
Yeah,
You see
he's
what I-
great. You should have taken him.
You see what I'm saying, though? At 8, there wasn't really, like, where do you go? You know what I'm saying?
I just don't like a lot of the value in that draft came in on the interior, and the value of taking an interior. I will never understand taking a defensive tackle in the top 10 or a guard or a center in the top 10. There's no value.
That's what
in
I'm
it.
saying. And
But
then
the Panthers have done it like twice.
the tough part, again, in the 21 draft, we had pick 4, right? T-Law, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance all go above our number 4 pick. So the only quarterback I would have wanted out of those is T-Law. You knew you weren't getting him.
I don't know if I was screaming Jamar.
That's the only one I'm like, damn, we could have. But does Jamar
Panay was that class, right?
Panay was 7.
I would have taken Panay too.
Again, though, we've been really good at finding our offensive line in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round.
Half your offensive line is first rounders. McGarry, Lindstrom were both first rounders.
Lindstrom was. Yeah, but Lindstrom was like 2018.
Lindstrom was like, yeah.
You see that
2019,
our line
2020.
was pretty shored up before 2020 started. We got Bergeron, who was the highest graded rookie guard or tackle. I get the two confused. This year in the 2nd or 3rd round.
I might show my lack of Falcons knowledge here. Is Jake Matthews still on the team? I thought so.
He now actually might be league leader for most consecutive starts.
I was gonna say I know he was drafted 7th or 6th in 2014, I think.
And he's been a dog ever since.
I was like,
Then
I
so
didn't want to show my lack of knowledge there, but I thought he was, but I didn't want to.
The line has just not been an area of need. And like you said, you're not drafting a lineman at 4.
Yeah.
And who's to say that Jamar pans out the way he has in Atlanta with the quarterbacks that we've had?
I don't know. But
And then
anything's better than Pitts.
Is it though?
Well, who's to say Pitts wouldn't have put up numbers if he got drafted with Burrow?
That's what I'm saying though. So like you didn't really, after that, you had Waddle. Again, he's had trouble staying on the field. And who's to say that Waddle or Chase does anything more than Pitts has in Atlanta with how bad our quarterbacks have been? You got Panay. J.C. Horn was an absolute bust at 8. The only other guy top 10 that I would have taken that was drafted in the top 10 is Pat Surtain.
J.C. Horn's pretty good too, but I wouldn't have taken him at 4.
Then you got Devontae Smith. We could have taken Justin. I thought we should have taken Justin, but
That would have been crazy to see a quarterback go 1, 2, 3, 4. That would
we
have been
didn't take
wild.
Justin. We could have taken Micah. Other than that, I mean, this wasn't the most loaded draft class either.
That class was really loaded. Micah, Justin, Trevor, Jamar, Jalen Waddle, Panay Sewell.
Slater's been really good. Vera
Slater's
Tucker's
been
been
in-
good.
I'm just saying for us, like, it was just tough. That was a tough 4 pick. We have just not been in a great situation to really improve upon what we really need to improve upon.
Yeah.
And I see the same thing happening this year, again being at 8.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the draft. I think it'll be interesting. More draft content to come as we get closer. We are
Yeah, we will.
99 days away from the draft.
We will get a lot more into the draft. All right, I want to talk coaches real quick and the coaching carousel in the NFL. I am going to start with the...
I think it's my
Nah,
chair.
We're going to start with...
I was going to ask, did you see the list of the Falcons completed their initial head coaching interviews? Did you see the list of people?
I saw some of
I
them
know
because
Harbaugh and Belichick were on there.
the list I clicked on that it showed all the guys we had requested to interview. I don't think we interviewed.
According to
all of them.
92.9 The Game, the Falcons
They're
completed-
always
good. Or
they're right on par.
92.9 's
Yeah,
good.
that's
Okay.
the best Falcons.
They completed their initial head coach interviews with the following: Ravens DC Mike McDonald,
Would be a great hire.
Bengals OC Brian Callahan,
I don't know
I'm
about
not
that.
a huge fan of that one.
49ers DC Steve Wilkes,
Good hire.
Good hire.
Panthers DC Ejiro Evero,
No, I'm not a big fan.
Ravens assistant head coach Anthony Weaver,
Be a pretty good hire.
and then Belichick and Harbaugh.
I don't know why Munkin isn't getting looks.
I don't know why the Chargers interviewed him.
Did they? That'd be a good hire for the Chargers.
I think the Chargers are going to get a good head coach.
I guess
I have a feeling.
I think they'll get the best head coach of the bunch. Them and Washington. I think Atlanta's a good spot.
I think
too,
we'll be
though.
up there. I think we're more
Who's going to get the
desi-
worst head coach?
we're more desirable than
Titans.
Panthers.
Panthers.
Oh, I forgot.
We're more.
Panthers.
I will say this: we're obviously not at the top of the list. The Chargers have the most talent. They also have the worst cap, so that's going to be interesting to watch. I definitely think we're a more desirable destination than Tennessee. I think we're more desirable than the Panthers. I think we're more desirable than the.
Who else is looking?
Commanders.
No, I think Commanders more.
They edge us slightly.
The Bears are sticking with.
The
Eberflus.
Bears are sticking with Eberflus.
The Patriots already got Mayo.
The Patriots got their guy.
What about
Who's
when
the
the
Cardinals
Eagles
head
job
coach
comes
right now?
open? It's his first year. They're not gonna get rid of him.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
I'm
remember.
trying to
Is
think
it
of-
Gannon? No. Is it? Is it
Rich
Gannon?
Gannon?
Let me look it
that
up.
sounds wrong.
That's
Jonathan-
that's
it's Jonathan
Jonathan
Gannon.
Gannon.
Jonathan
Rich Gannon's
Gannon.
the Raiders.
Yeah.
Quarterback. Yeah.
What year did he win MVP? Does anybody know?
2002.
Yep.
Damn, year I was born. I think we're a pretty desirable destination, though. We have all the young talent, and all we're missing is a quarterback. So, and you get to come in and you really get to like have your guy.
Damn.
I think the dream scenario is the one that I painted with the Steelers trade.
What do you think about
that's
this
dream
one,
scenario.
Zach? It says it's about the Falcons. They can turn it into a playoff team if they play this right. Hypothetically, if they get Bill Belichick as the coach and you get Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback.
Sign him.
I'd rather take Jameis.
Yeah, that's
Keep
true.
Arthur Smith. Reunite him with Ryan Tannehill.
Hell
Bring him
no.
back as
Watch your
offensive
elbow.
coordinator.
Don't hit that
Yeah,
camera.
I was just looking at it.
I don't know, man. It's either gonna be a great year to be a Falcons fan, or it's gonna be another year where I'm just fucking utterly disappointed. I think it can go either way very quickly. Who do we think the Chargers are hiring?
Probably Harbaugh.
Harbaugh or trying to think of who else is on the market.
Interesting.
They're gonna get a big name guy. They're not gonna.
The Chargers? Yeah.
They're going to make a splash hire.
Well,
Flashy.
to be fair, Brandon Staley was like,
and they realize how that turned out.
I think they tried to pull
They needed to get
Sean
somebody.
McVay with him.
I
And
think-
it backfired.
I think Belichick would make a lot of sense.
Right now, Harbaugh is the favorite.
I think it's definitely gonna be Harbaugh.
Really?
Harbaugh is the favorite. Some other names. that are at least sports betting odds wise that are on this list.
Sure, Belichick is.
Ben Johnson is second behind Harbaugh.
Is Dan Quinn up there?
Dan Quinn is third.
Bring Dan Quinn and what's his name back to Kellen Moore back together.
Bill Belichick, Aaron Glenn, Steve Wilkes, Bieniemy, Giff Smith,
Bieniemy would be a great hire for the Chargers.
Patrick Graham,
But I think that
Lincoln
Commanders.
Riley, Mike Vrabel, and then Todd Monken.
Lincoln Riley's not leaving. That's such a stupid. If anybody puts money on that, you're burning your wallet.
It's
It says they seem to have found their guy, but Harbaugh did interview with the Falcons on Tuesday, and he could have more meetings lined up. So we'll see. I wouldn't mind seeing Harbaugh in Atlanta.
I would. If
Would
I was
you-
a Falcons fan,
would you feel
I'd rather have
w-
Belichick.
would you feel not slighted, but would you feel jaded towards him,
Towards who?
In what way?
Harbaugh,
Like,
because he cheated?
So did Belichick.
yeah, I mean, and it's a lot harder to do in the NFL. I mean, I think at this point, I just want a good fucking coach. I don't really care how I feel about him as a person or like what he has done at other jobs. Like, obviously, Bill fucking beat us in that Super Bowl. So, like, am I a huge Bill Belichick fan? Hell nah. But if he takes us back to the promised land, I don't give a shit.
Bill
I just want to
Belichick-
win games.
Belichick has a 29% chance to be the Falcons' next head coach, plus 250. He's the
Leader right now.
leader right now. Harbaugh's fourth.
I saw something.
Who's second and third?
Brian Callahan is second, Bengals OC, and Ben Johnson, Lions OC, is third. And then Harbaugh, and then Wilkes, and then Cannells, and then the field.
I like Ben Johnson more than I like Brian Callahan. Our offense is built to run more like the Lions than it is the Bengals.
I think I saw something and it said, like with Bill interviewing with the Falcons, it was the Falcons just. This didn't actually happen, but it was like, name a time when you faced adversity and overcame it, and Bill was like, I have the perfect example.
I think the Falcons should just take a swing for left field, bring in Coach Prime.
Fuck no.
I was on the
Oh,
range.
no.
I was on the range warming up 3 days ago, and I was sitting next to two Cowboys fans, and they were legit were having a real conversation saying that they wanted Deion Sanders, like a real. They were like,
I love Dion, but get the fuck out
they
of
were
here.
like, he's one of the greatest Cowboys of all time. Blah, 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 blah. It brings such a new energy, and I was like,
That
I
shit
was
does
sitting
piss
3
me
bays
off,
away
though.
from them, and
That
I was like,
motherfucker's he's an Atlanta
sports-
legend.
Yeah,
And this motherfucker associates more with the Cowboys than he does Atlanta. The piece of shit.
can you name every team he played for?
Yes.
Not you.
Atlanta, the Cowboys,
Yep.
the Niners,
Yep.
and there's the one that everybody always
The
forgets
Raiders.
No.
about. No. NFC, AFC.
AFC.
Well,
Was it the Ravens?
The Ravens are one of them.
you got one more.
I was thinking.
It was nobody in the South.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That's the one that I always blank on.
Was it somebody in the South?
no.
I don't think it
He
was.
played with them for 1 year.
Yeah.
It was nobody else in the North. Don't look that shit up.
I think he retired with them.
It's
And
nobody.
he-
else.
And
back
then he
for the
came out of
Ravens.
retirement.
It's
yeah.
nobody else. It's nobody else in the North. The West. It was not the Chargers. It was not the Broncos.
It's an NFC team.
It's an.
The
This
one
one's
of them was
NFC.
an AFC team. The other one's an NFC team.
He didn't play for the Eagles,
Nope.
Commanders, or Giants.
Well,
He didn't play for
Commanders weren't a team.
Redskins. He didn't play for anybody else in the NFC South. Did he?
I'm not. I'm just giving you a look.
Oh.
I'm just saying I need one answer. NFC. Go.
Seahawks.
The Skins.
Was it the Skins?
He retired with the Skins.
I don't remember that.
I want to look at him in a Skins jersey.
The head coaching carousel is interesting though.
They gave him a fat contract.
I don't think
too.
it's going to get
Did they?
interesting
Yeah.
until the playoffs are over. Because, like, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn are two top candidates to get head coaching jobs, but the Lions are.
He just looks like Sean Taylor.
The Lions are in the playoffs.
The Lions are in the playoffs. Todd Monken's still in the playoffs. Steve Wilkes is still in the playoffs.
Who's the Weaver?
Anthony Weaver's
Anthony
still
Weaver
in
is
the playoffs.
still in the playoffs.
It'll start to heat up once the Super Bowl's over. But
You know what's
until then,
crazy to me is we haven't heard any movement out of anybody interviewing Bieniemy. Nobody.
Because I think he's gonna get promoted.
Maybe,
I still
but
think
don't.
it's. I still think it's the smartest possible thing for them.
I'm
to
not
just promote
disagreeing
Bieniemy.
with you, but why hasn't it happened yet?
I don't know.
Riverboat Ron has been out.
I don't know. I think they're. I don't know. I have no idea. Couldn't tell you.
Maybe they're letting him decide what he'd rather do.
I think he likes the offensive coordinator role.
You think so?
He could have had a head coaching job coming out of KC, but he chose to go over to Washington and be offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but there weren't many.
He was getting. I think he got offered the Bears job.
Do you blame him for not taking that one though?
No, but that's what I'm saying. I think until he finds the perfect
Dude,
fit, he's gonna be.
I would
happy
love
he's
to
gonna
see him in Atlanta,
Well, they didn't interview him.
And yeah,
but at least if we're gonna fucking go out and get somebody, I want an established coach.
Yeah.
Like I don't want no more of this reaching shit.
So you want Bill?
yeah.
Harbaugh.
Man.
The only guy that doesn't have like a ton of experience in the NFL that I would want is Todd.
Monken. Yeah.
Yes, I would love to see Monken. Other than that, I like Ben Johnson because Detroit's offense runs a lot like our offense should run if it's running correctly. A lot of play action, a lot of balls to the tight end, a lot of hard,
They have Laporta,
tough-nosed
though.
football.
Kyle Pitts ain't like no slouch.
He's got all the talent in the world, bruh. I mean, I don't know how much you can do when you have like basically 30 balls thrown at you this year that were completely uncatchable.
Bring Steve Sarkisian back.
Urban Meyer.
Get the fuck out of here.
Established ass coach. He's got 3 natties.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Urban Meyer.
Yeah, and you saw what that translated to in the NFL.
He was put in a bad situation.
Bunch
He
of-
didn't. He was never given a chance.
Bunch of booty
They
calls.
shouldn't have let him in that bar.
Bunch of booty calls, cheating on his wife, and trying to ruin Trevor Lawrence's career. Yeah, give me Urban. Yeah, for sure.
Bring the whole squad back together. Urban's the head coach. Dan Quinn's the DC. Steve Sarkisian's the OC. Arthur Smith's the new
quarterback's coach.
Dude, I saw something the other day made me so upset. Do you know what our 2016 coaching staff looked like?
Yeah, it was the white guy with white hair.
Hold on, let me just run this. Our Super Bowl roster. Okay, our Super Bowl team.
roster?
Our Super Bowl team. This
Yeah.
was the head coaching staff. You ready?
I know the
Dan Quinn
Dan
was head coach. Now DC of the Cowboys, obviously.
Shanahan,
Kyle Shanahan was the OC. Now the
head coach.
head coach of the Niners.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniels
Yep.
was an offensive assistant. Now
Yeah.
the head coach of the Dolphins.
Dolphins. Yeah.
Matt LaFleur was our quarterbacks coach.
Yep.
Now the head coach of the Packers.
Packers.
Who is Raheem Morris was like a linebackers coach or assistant defensive coach. Obviously the DC out in San Francisco now. And the Jets, Elbrick from their DC this year was also on that coaching staff. All of whom have done much better everywhere else.
Y'all
So,
had to have won that year, right? With all that.
yeah.
And Matt Ryan and Julio.
Julio?
There's no way they lost.
Devontae Freeman in his prime.
That sounds like a Super Bowl team to me.
That sounds like a team that should have won. Let me look up what happened.
You can't say shit because you don't have. You're just a fair weather fan, and the Vikings haven't done shit either. So I don't want to hear it.
Hey, they went to 4 Super Bowls.
Exactly. I'm not even a true fan, so I can technically say
And lost
whatever
all
I
4.
want. What happened that year?
Wow.
We've been to 2, lost 2. They've been to 4, lost 4. So the only person fucking at this table that can say anything is Joe.
And I wasn't alive to watch any of them except for one.
So this motherfucker gets to no say. He just
I'm just a
he just
football- I'm
follows
just a
guys
foot-
around.
You name,
I have stated
name-
multiple times that I'm a big just football fan, so I
you
can
name
make fun.
5 Bengals before Joe Burrow.
Hell no.
Vontez Perfect.
Can you name
AJ Green.
Let me.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say name 5 players, not viral players. So not like you don't get Ocho, you don't get AJ Green, you don't get Burfict.
Hey, you just gave him one.
Jeremy Hill.
There you go.
Oh, that's a good one.
Tyler Boyd.
No.
Still on the roster.
You got me.
Giovanni Bernard,
I was just about to say Gio.
Adam Pac-Man Jones.
Carson Palmer.
CJ Usmanzada,
Andy Dalton.
TJ
Boomer,
Houshmandzadeh.
TJ, Boomer Esiason,
What's your old tight end's name?
Tyler Eifert,
Tyler Eifert. Bengals
Geno
legend.
Atkins.
Uzoma.
Geno Atkins was dog.
He was a dog. Who was the guy? Jerome Simpson.
Pac-Man Adams. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, so his opinion doesn't
Pac-Man
count to me.
Jones. Adam Jones, right?
He didn't even watch the NFL with any intent before Joe Burrow entered the league. So
Hey, I was cheering for the Falcons. At that time, I was like
I think
my-
everybody
I was at my
though.
I was at my 50-50 stage. of
If you
being
weren't
like,
if you weren't a
Vikings, Falcons.
Patriots fan, you were rooting for the Falcons in that one.
So I was rooting for him. It's still funny that it happened though.
Well, Kyle Shanahan does what he does best,
This was my favorite Super Bowl to watch.
choking the big
ever.
moments. Kyle Shanahan, grade A choker.
What was your favorite Super Bowl to watch? That's like a very. What was your favorite Super Bowl to watch?
I mean,
I think mine was the
would have been that one, but
obviously. I think mine was the Seahawks Patriots one.
That's
That
where
was a
I
good
was about
one.
to go.
I think that one was my favorite one because that's like one of the only ones where I can like vividly remember plays, like multiple plays.
My memory's so dog shit. I can't really remember anything.
I remember that Jermaine Curse catch. That was,
It's crazy.
I remember the Malcolm Butler goal line interception. It's
yeah.
like it's
I
gotta
remember
be one
watching-
of the most iconic plays in Super Bowl history.
I remember watching the Patriots Giants game in
Yeah, I don't
2011.
remember.
I
I
remember that
really
one.
enjoyed the Patriots Rams Super Bowl.
no, you did not.
Shut the hell up.
Defensive masterclass.
I think that the Falcons one that was what like cemented Brady as like the GOAT undisputably. Because
Probably.
I mean,
Yeah, the
before that
biggest
he had
playoff
4.
comeback of all
Everybody was
time.
like, "Well, Joe Montana's still up there with him." And then that one, it was like biggest playoff comeback of all time. First quarterback to reach 5 Super Bowls.
Then he won 2 more.
Then he won 2 more. Yeah, but
Worst Super
One
Bowl
with a
has
different
got to be the
team.
Patriots Rams one, right?
That shit
Obviously,
sucked.
besides you.
no, that I didn't like that.
But you
the
can't come-
the Broncos one.
Oh, that
As
one was
in,
boring
as
too.
if I take
The
my
Broncos,
bias out of
Panthers.
it,
Yeah.
if I take my bias out of it, Patriots Falcons Super Bowl was
Or no. It
Probably
was
one of
probably
the
the,
greatest Super
the
Bowls.
best Super Bowl of the 21st century.
it was Seahawks Broncos, and where the Seahawks I think whooped their ass.
shit on the Broncos,
hated
beat them
that
like
Super
52
Bowl.
to
I remember.
10.
I vaguely remember.
Yeah, that
game.
Super Bowl sucked
That
ass.
was my least
The one where the
favorite.
Broncos won, the only reason that one was good to me is because I was a huge Peyton fan. But other than that, that game sucked.
And you don't like the Panthers.
Well, I got the famous Cam Newton fumble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pats Falcons was probably the best Super Bowl of the 21st century.
I think it's. What do you
No.
mean? It's the best Super Bowl of all time. It's not the Steelers game.
It's the Steelers.
No, it's not.
It isn't.
Steelers Cardinals.
The Falcons Patriots game is the best Super Bowl of all time.
Man, that's got
Probably, yeah.
two of the most iconic plays of all time in the same game. James Harrison, 100-yard pick six.
That is true. It
And
does
the
have two of the
game-winning
most,
catch.
probably two of the top 15 Super Bowl plays of all time.
the best catch of all time.
Not
I
that.
still put what's his name with the Giants, the helmet
No,
catch.
I can't stand that narrative.
Thank
You know what? You know what?
I do
Okay,
not like
hold on.
that catch.
You want me to pivot real quick? One of the greatest Super Bowl catches of all time.
The Julio
Edelman.
catch. Oh, the Julio catch.
Julio
was-
and Edelman. Those are two top 10
The Edelman
Super
catch,
Bowl catches.
for sure.
So was Curse then. If you're putting Edelman
Curse is up there too.
Yeah,
Edelman, Curse, that Julio catch.
that Julio catch was disgusting.
I mean, the helmet catch has to go in there because of its
significance.
but I don't think it's as impressive as everybody says. That catch is probably top 4. Your whatever.
I think
Santonio.
Julio's and
Santonio
Edelman's are
Holmes.
top 5.
Who else is up there? Are we
Isn't
just going
there-
catches or plays?
I guess we were talking top 10 catches of all
Okay.
time. So
Do interceptions count as catches?
if you want them to, I guess.
Malcolm Butler and James Harrison are both up there then. You can argue that was it Trufant that ran it back or was it Alford?
I feel like it was Trufant because I was shitting on him all season. And
the first
then-
play of a play. I actually think it was like 6 minutes left in the
So
third
glad
quarter.
you guys are fucking running me all the way back through my fucking
Nightmares.
probably the biggest fucking upset of my entire childhood.
I'm blanking on his name. The Saints player who had the pick 6 against Peyton. That was probably up there.
I guess it's considered the 2017 Super Bowl.
Yeah, I just tried to do that. It wasn't 16. I pulled up the Broncos game. What else is up there?
Tom Brady threw for 466 yards in that game.
He's a winner.
Fucking James White, right?
The running back.
The running back,
yeah.
14 catches for 110 yards in that game.
Well, that's why you fucking lost. You let their running back go for 110.
It was Alford.
Alford.
Yeah. I mean, it's real sad.
Nick
to look
Foles.
Oh, the catch.
In terms of significance.
at. Devontae Freeman touchdown, Austin Hooper touchdown, Robert Alford pick 6,
You know who threw Nick
Josh
Foles that ball?
Calkey. Was it Blunt?
No.
Was it Alshon?
No.
Nelson Aguilar?
It's a tight end.
Ertz?
Nope.
It's not Goddard.
I'm gonna get it. Move on. I'll think about it.
I can't
I
remember
don't
his
know.
name either. I
don't know.
I
What
know
the
who he used to
fuck?
play for.
I don't know.
Who did he used to play for?
The Bears.
Yeah, I mean, with 9 minutes and 44 seconds to go in that game, it was 28-12. So, you know,
I'm gonna. It's really.
I
gonna
can't.
piss me off
I
that
still
I'm not
can't
gonna
believe it.
remember
All
his
right,
name.
can we please let's move on to something else because
I think it was Trey Burton. Yeah.
God, it was Trey Burton.
let's
Damn.
move on to something else.
I was gonna say I'll move on to something. Move on to a little hot take action.
We can move on to hot takes.
I can go. I don't mind going for. I like that.
I've got mine too. So either way,
Dude, clip that too.
what?
That sizzle sound I just made. That was elite.
Let's
I
get
didn't
some.
hear
Let's try it again. Let's get the cold cut. Let's get some hot takes going. For my hot take, we're gonna go to the NBA. Just wait till we get to those
Dude's a fucking
DAWGs.
child, bro. Dude is a child. Go
Just
ahead.
wait till we get to those DAWGs. My hot take, we're going to move to the NBA. So there's been a lot of talk. Obviously, trade deadline's coming up in less than a month now. We just hit 2 days ago was the day that players who signed extensions can get traded. So I think my hot take is before the deadline that Pascal, Zach LaVine, and DeJounte Murray all get moved. And if I'm going to go a step further, I'm going to say Pascal goes to the Kings, LaVine goes to the Pistons, and DeJounte goes to the Lakers. Now, I don't know what the Lakers are going to give up, but it makes the most sense fit-wise.
Well,
So
they got to do something because
So
they're
that-
20 and 21.
That front court of the Kings with DeMontis
and Pascal with
Would be disgusting.
I think that's the ideal location. Give up anything but Keegan Murray. Like, obviously, you're not going to give up Sabonis and Fox.
And Fox.
Don't give up Keegan Murray, and you win the trade. Give up Herter. Give up Malik Monk. Malik Monk's expiring, and he says, like, there's been a lot of rumors that he's not going to come back. Give up anything but Keegan Murray. Give up those two and a first-round pick. Then you have,
Pascal's a dog.
then you have Fox, Murray, whoever you want, Pascal, DeMontis Sabonis. That's a
a good team.
scary-looking team.
It's a good team.
Heading into the second half of the season. Then you have LaVine going to the Pistons. It makes a lot of sense. They have a lot of money. Trade like Wiseman in a first.
The Lakers got to do something
I just don't know what they give up for
because their
DeJounte.
backcourt is terrible.
Like, you have to get some value, and I mean, I just don't even know what you would like. What kind of first round picks do the Lakers even have right now? I don't know.
I don't.
But anyway,
I don't
you
know
traded
what they,
you
I
traded
don't know
4
what
picks to
assets
get
they have.
you traded 4 picks to get DeJounte. You got to get something back.
They're not going to give them up for like a bag of chips.
So it's the Lakers makes the most. I don't even know another landing spot. Like, if I were to go to odds, DeJounte Murray next team.
The Lakers
odds.
just have no depth right now. Like they don't have anybody to give up. Is the problem?
Obviously, I think the Lakers are gonna. Obviously, the Lakers are gonna be
Like I'm looking at their roster and I don't see anybody in here that even comes close to having value
It's
in a trade for DeJounte. I don't know who Colin Castleton or Max Christie are.
What about Rui?
You got AD.
the Nets have apparently. This is as of 2 hours ago have shown interest in DeJounte Murray, and they're talking about if the Hawks could land Claxton
I like
or
Claxton.
Dorian Finney-Smith, which would be okay.
We need a defender, so I'm
Both
cool
would
with
work.
either.
If you really want to get crazy, you could definitely trade DeJounte and like a first for Mikal Bridges.
I think so.
Mikal and Trey.
I mean, that makes up for DeJounte was supposed to make up for Trey, but Mikal, like they're
Well,
clearly.
but Trey is balling this season.
Yeah,
The problem is he is the only person on the team playing NBA caliber basketball right now.
I don't know. We could see a big if it's with the Nets, we could see a big deal if you were to send like
You could see like
DeJounte and Clint and DeAndre Hunter for
Mikal
and
Nick
Claxton.
Claxton.
throwing a first from the Hawks.
I wouldn't be
That's
mad
a
with that.
big
You could see a
trade.
big trade, and then you'd have what would the
Get
starting
younger. Get younger
You would
because
see-
you need a young team
You'd
right
see
now.
Trey. Who would be the starting shooting guard?
Probably Bogey.
Trey, Bogey, Johnson. No. Then you have Mikal. Onyeka would play the
Okongwu,
4.
which is he's a good
He's a,
defender.
he's a
Jalen
4.
Johnson.
He is a 4.
He's a
Jalen
true four.
Johnson's
Jalen
been
Johnson
a-
would probably come off the bench.
He'd come out. He'd be part of the
And
bench
then you have a
unit.
good bench with Jalen Johnson, Sadiq Bey.
I'm I'm trying to think of the guard we have.
AJ
coming off of.
Griffin.
Yeah, Griffin's played pretty good ball.
You probably need to find who's the best backup big on the roster. I'm sure there's another one. I'm sure it's not just on.
I don't even know who.
Bruno
anyway.
Fernando.
Fuck.
Anybody
know where he went to college? This is a weird one. Do you know where he went to college? Bruno
Indiana?
Fernando? No.
Rutgers.
Nope. You're really close though.
Wisconsin.
Northwestern,
Nope. You're close in colors and location.
Nebraska.
Maryland.
Maryland.
So
Rutgers
colors
is
and
in-
location.
I think it's Bruno Fernando went to Maryland.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, just looking at the Lakers roster, they don't have anybody to trade for
They might-
DeJounte.
They might trade Reeves.
We're not trading.
I wouldn't want Reeves if I was.
I don't want Reeves. Reeves is ass.
I feel
But
like
I
they're overvaluing Reeves over there in LA.
Well, they got him on a really good deal.
No, they didn't. He's getting paid $12 million this year.
That's a really good deal. Look at the rest of the players making $12 million in the NBA. Austin Reeves is better than almost all of them.
He had a lot bigger offers, I think, too. With other
Huge
teams.
offers. He had like
15, 4, and 5 on
that's-
49% shooting.
He had offers of like 22 and 21.
Yeah, because he had one good playoff run, and people were like, "Oh my God, this dude's legit."
Same thing.
I
with,
watched Bradley Beal cook him the other night.
Yeah.
Give him the work.
He's not a good
PJ
defender.
Washington is making almost 17 million.
Exactly.
They don't have anybody to trade.
I think your best deal is McCallum Claxton for
I'm cool with a blockbuster
Hunter-
deal. We suck ass anyways.
they're both the Nets and the Hawks are walking on a treadmill. They're going absolutely nowhere. They're moving, but they're like not moving.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
Blow up both teams.
I'm,
DeJounte, and then a first round pick from the Hawks.
I'm in agreement. We might make the play in.
If you make that trade, I think you're a playoff team, like a top 7, probably maybe 7 seed, maybe sneak into the 6 at this point. It's a
We're
little late
currently
in the season.
6 games out of the 7th seed, which is the Knicks at 23 and 17. We're 16 and 23.
You'll probably. I mean, the Raptors are still above y'all, right? Or are they just below?
They're below 15 and 25.
If they
The
trade
10 seed is
Pascal.
the 16 and 23 Nets.
You
And
jump them because the Nets would be rebuilding almost.
the 9th seed is the Bulls at 19 and
Jump
23.
them.
They're getting.
They're going to trade Levine, maybe even DeRozan.
I don't know if they're getting rid of Levine, man. They're gonna have to come off of so much to get rid of
He's
him.
barely even playing right now. They're like literally benching him.
I don't know, man. I will be surprised if somebody.
Detroit, it makes so much sense.
That contract is insane.
But they have the money and no name.
And
me,
he's-
if you're a free agent, what the hell is making you go to Detroit?
Nothing.
Wingstop.
Who the fuck
Exactly.
wants to go to Detroit?
Exactly. So trade him to Detroit.
That's
but
like a
that-
big middle finger to Zach.
Yeah, seriously.
The perfect team to start. The
You
perfect
can't say
player
the
to start a
Bulls. The
rebuild.
Bulls aren't much better.
But
Especially
the
once-
Hawks would jump the Bulls.
If they move off Levine, they're gonna fall
They're
out
going
of
to
the play
tumble.
in.
Yep. So
I think we can make the play in. Our problem has been that Trey has to be it. The buck stops with Trey right now. Like if Trey doesn't play well, we do not win games. He's averaging almost 29. Let me look at these standings real quick to make sure that I am still correct. He is averaging 27 and a half. He's 8th in the league in scoring right now. 27 and a half. 3 and 11. He currently is 2nd in the league in assists, behind only Halliburton, who's averaging 12 and a half. He's averaging a double. He's
just had another guy enter the portal.
who
Caden Proctor.
O-lineman.
Number 1 offensive tackle.
Trey's averaging a double. So I can't really be I can't put any of the blame on Trey. The 7 guys who are putting up more points per game than Trey: Joel, Luka, Giannis, SGA, KD, Donovan Mitchell, and De'Aaron Fox. Trey is putting up more points per game right now than Tatum, Curry, Booker, Maxey,
Jokic.
Ant, Kyrie, Brunson, Jokic, Dame, AD, LeBron, and Desmond Bain is what rounds out the top 20.
Well-
So I can't be mad at Trey. And I think if we trade Trey, you might as well just sell the franchise because we'll be ass. Nobody will show up to
Nobody's
games.
trading. They're
Maybe
not
the
trading Trey.
Pistons.
I would give it like a 0.1% trend.
He's not
chance
going
that Trey-
nowhere. All right, my hot take of the week is the NFL free agent market is going to get reset in a negative way this upcoming season.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's been so many guys. We've seen running backs get paid who haven't produced. We've seen wide receivers get paid or get traded for who show up, who just fucking bitch, moan, and complain about not getting touches, about not getting the ball. We've seen the quarterback market be so mediocre that it really, you don't need the best quarterback in the league to win games. You need a guy who you can afford to build a team around. We have seen Patrick Mahomes' contract has been not detrimental to the Chiefs because they're still in the divisional round, but it has hurt them very badly in the sense of they can't afford a receiver anymore. That's why they don't have Tyreek Hill. You've seen obviously he didn't play this year, but the Joe Burrow contract is not going to be beneficial to the Bengals. They can't pay their number 2 wide receiver now in T. Higgins. He's going to leave. And then they're going to be left with Jamar and Tyler Boyd with no tight end and a 29, 30-year-old Joe Mixon now.
Something like that.
And they had to let Jesse Bates walk because they couldn't afford to pay him.
Yeah.
You've seen it. Aaron Rodgers didn't play this year. That contract was not beneficial to the Jets. They couldn't go out and get any offensive linemen. That offensive line sucks. I think the market is going to be reset, and it's going down.
I think
this time.
mid-tier quarterbacks are going to get hit the worst because you got guys like Daniel Jones,
Getting like
Dak
$150
Prescott.
million.
and they're not producing.
I think
Jalen Hurts.
I think the running back market is going to go down even farther.
Well, yeah. The thing I always said about running back is I think the most important part of a good NFL running back is the offensive line. I feel like if you have a good offensive line, you can throw just about any round 1 through 3 running back in there, and he'll average at least 4 yards a carry.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Tyler Algier rush for 1,100 yards last year as a rookie.
Yeah, so I don't think there's like I don't think teams should be drafting running backs in the first round, and I don't think they should be paying top dollar for a guy like Saquon, who you're gonna have like maybe 6 years of elite rushing from him, and then he's gonna fall off a cliff.
I think the only guy who still gets paid in the running back market is going to be CMC
And the King.
and the King. The King will get paid.
Maybe Nick Chubb.
I have a bad feeling that the King is gonna go to the Ravens next year,
Really?
and I'm not looking
That'd be
forward to it.
sweet.
I see him in.
He says he wants to go to a contender, and the Ravens always have trouble with running backs staying healthy.
That is true, but it also depends. Well, I guess he's going to get a lot of touches actually up there in Baltimore. They run the ball a lot, so
Yeah.
we'll see. All right, Lance, what is your hot take?
My hot take kind of relates back to my mega moment last week, which was the script writers. I thought they got it right. They got it
fucking wrong.
horribly wrong.
So wrong.
We had one good game out of 6 games this past weekend, but we've got some more pretty good matchups this week. Chiefs Bills should be cinema. Lions Bucks should be pretty good. And then you got 2 really good teams who sat for a week facing 2 very hot teams.
Young teams, hungry teams.
So my hot take is that every single one of the 4 divisional games this weekend will be a 1-possession game. They will all be 1 possession.
Okay.
I think the Ravens could win like 31-23. I see that happening. I think actually, I'm not going to get into that yet because we still got pick 'em, so I'm not going to give away all my picks yet. But those kind of games I could see happening, especially with the Ravens and the Niners sitting. The Packers are hot; they could give the Niners some trouble, and the Texans have C.J. Stroud. So, I think they're all going to be good games this weekend. I think the script realized they got it wrong last week, so they got to make up for it, and we'll get some good games.
Joseph.
All right. Well, my hot take is not really a prediction. It's more of a statement. And my statement is, let me double check my odds real quick. Yeah, this is bullshit.
There it
This
is.
is bullshit.
I think that CJ Stroud should be a serious frontrunner for MVP this season. The dude, he's 8th right now in passing yards this season after missing 2 games. If you do it yards per game to kind of accompany that missed the injury, he's number 3 in yards per game behind Joe Flacco, who only played 5 games, and Kirk Cousins, who only played 8. The closest guy behind him is Tua, who only played 1 more game than him, or 2 more games than him. The guy completely 180 to franchise that was the worst team in their division, one of the worst teams in the NFL last year, and has brought them to what, I'm not going to say that. I'll save it for the pick'em. But he's balling out right now. And right now, he's not even in the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Top 10 in odds.
Top 12.
Top 12. They have Joe Flacco above him.
At MVP odds,
Yeah, they have, right now the top 10 is Lamar Jackson, Dak, Brock Purdy, Josh Allen, Christian McCaffrey, Tua, Tyreek Hill, Joe Flacco, Patrick Mahomes, Matt Stafford, Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff.
I also think this is a completely different discussion. I think that Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott being above Josh Allen in MVP odds is kind of
I
laughable.
don't understand. I mean, I understand Dak has the stats, but he's the same quarterback. I mean, I think he's a lot like Tua, man. He beats up on the
bad
shitty
teams.
garbage can teams, and then when it comes to like crunch time, or man, we need you to win this game for us.
I know not
He pulls a
everybody
Desmond Shitter.
not everybody up here is a fan of Josh Allen, but I think leading the league in total touchdowns, obviously the turnovers are not good, but you saw Patrick Mahomes have a ton of turnovers this year. The guys who made turnovers this year were the quarterbacks who were asked to win games for their team. Brock Purdy is not asked to win games for his team. He is asked not to lose games for his team. Dak can't win games for his team. When we have seen when the game comes down to Dak, Dak cannot win the game. And Lamar played really well, but he doesn't have MVP stats.
Damn, Josh had more interceptions this year than he did last year.
Yeah, I think he also had more touchdowns, though.
Well, yeah. He had 18 picks. Only one guy had more than that. You know who it is?
Wasn't Ritter, was it?
No.
He didn't play enough.
Sam Howell's got 21. And then Jalen Hurts has got 15.
But even with 18 interceptions, he was still third in the league in QBR, fourth in the league in passing yards, tied fifth for passing TDs, and he had rushing. He had 15 rushing TDs this year.
Yeah.
So in the season, he had 44 total touchdowns.
And that's not including his one, I think, from the playoff game either.
No, just regular season. He had, how many total yards did he had 4,830 total yards this season
Yeah, and no tushy pushies.
with 44 touchdowns. He averaged basically 5 yards a carry on the ground. So I don't know how you've got Brock Purdy. Obviously, it's not you. I don't know how they have Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott above him. But
I don't know how. I mean, I can understand Brock Purdy a little bit. I think Brock Purdy should be ahead of Dak, to be honest.
I just think like the eye test has to factor into it somehow.
What's the eye test for Dak? You beat up on
No, that's what
shitty
I'm saying for Dak and Brock.
teams. Yeah,
Dak only showed up when he played inferior competition.
I think it should be Lamar Jackson 1, Josh Allen 2, or no, I think CJ should be 1. But if I'm going off the odds I'm provided, Lamar at 1, Josh Allen at 2, probably.
Stroud or McCaffrey.
I'm just talking about this 12. Right
Oh, I
here.
thought you were talking about.
But I would put McCaffrey above Brock. Would
Yeah.
you? And then I don't want to put Tua up there though. But I think Tua.
Well, some of
I
these
think
you
Tua
just
and
know
Dak
aren't
should be
going to
equal.
happen. Like there should only be 5. I don't know why they give
Yeah.
us 12 candidates. There's only really
Yeah, like
5.
Matt Stafford is not winning MVP.
Joe Flacco's not winning MVP.
He played 6 games.
The fact that Joe Flacco is above Patrick Mahomes, that was kind of funny.
That is kind of funny. What did Patrick end with this year? Does anybody
Or they're
know?
equal, I guess.
Yeah.
He had 14 picks.
4,183 passing yards, 6th in the league, 27 passing TDs, 8th in the league, 14 picks, and the 8th best QBR. He also had 389 rushing yards. No rushing TDs this year, though. So 29 TDs was all that, or 27 TDs is what Mahomes finished the season with. So not Mahomes' best year, that's for sure.
Lance?
All right.
It's time for those. Have you given yours yet? You given
What?
Your hot take?
Yeah, we all gave him.
Okay, good. It's time for those dogs.
All right. This is Dogs of the Week presented by Underdog Fantasy. Use code FTS to get your first deposit matched up to $100 in time for the end of the playoff season. If you love fantasy sports, Underdog is the app for you. Check it out and use the code to support the boys. We are going to give you the dogs this week. These guys are going to go off. They're going to go higher or lower depending on what we pick in their projections. We're going to make you some units.
The best daily fantasy sports pick'em entry of the week.
That's
right.
Don't go nowhere else. Your pick'em entry is right here. I will lead us off. I don't know I can't remember what my pick was last week, I'll be honest. I do not remember. Before that, I was 3 for 3. So I'm either 3 for 4 or 4 for 4. I should have paid attention a little bit more to what I picked last week, but I've got it for you guys this week. It's right here. I'll show everybody so they can see. Right here. Here it is. The premier rookie quarterback in the league is going to go up against the Baltimore Ravens, and I think he's going to play really well. I think this is going to be a really good matchup. A lot of people are already counting the Texans out of this game, but a lot of people counted them out of the Browns game. Give me C.J. Stroud higher than 1.5 passing TDs, and it does have a pepper on it for any of you guys wondering. So you
Is
get
it a pepper or a scorcher?
Scorcher.
I
They
heard
call it
somebody say
it's
scorcher the other
I
day,
just call it
too.
a pepper. You can call it a chili, whatever the fuck you want to call it, but it gives you
A multiplier.
a multiplier, 1.25 times multiplier. Give me C.J. Stroud higher than 1.5 passing TDs. Did I take yours?
No.
Okay.
No. You're all good.
Okay.
I'm not going crazy this week. I'm going very robust, very just cut and dry. I'm not trying to be flashy. This dude's been toting the rock recently. This team likes toting the rock. They got 2 rock toters. Give me David Montgomery against the Bucks, higher than half a rush plus receiving TD. He's got a streak going. He's had at least a rushing TD in 3 straight games. I think they continue it. I think another home game, another great environment for the Lions, allows that offense to flow, and DeMont gets in the end zone.
All right.
All right, I'm going somewhere I really wasn't comfortable with before.
Here, I'm going to go ahead and start. I am going to lock this pick'em entry in by the time the segment's over. So go ahead. I'm taking our
Projections. Last week, as you talked about in your mega moment, Baker Mayfield threw for 337 yards
And 3 touchdowns.
and 3 touchdowns
Well,
against
Lance,
the Philadelphia Eagles.
I hate to tell you, you're going to have to take a new one.
They got rid of it.
David Montgomery does not have a...
He had it when I was looking earlier too. I almost did it.
Underdog.
What's
What
happening?
are you doing? What are you doing?
They realized that one was free.
Yeah.
All right, we'll circle back to you.
Last week he threw for 337 against the Eagles, whose defense is suspicious.
Okay.
Okay. So you take that as you will. However, in his last 5 games, he's gone for 337 against the Eagles. Then didn't really do anything against Carolina, but I think that was more of a team thing. 137, 309 against the Saints, 283 against the Jags, and 381 against the Packers. They're playing the Lions this week, who do not have a very good passing defense. Stafford threw for almost 400 yards. And Baker's projection is just 244.5 yards.
253.5.
Well, when I looked at it, it was 244. Now it's 253. I'm still taking it. Give me Baker Mayfield higher than 253.5 passing yards.
All right. Joseph.
All right, well, mine is a little bit of I think it's a free pick, not going to lie. But if you look at the Packers' defense throughout the season, they averaged 335 yards per game. Against the Cowboys, they let up 510 total yards. And
A lot of that was garbage time.
yes, but their defense was the biggest reason people didn't give them a chance against the Cowboys. And in true Dak Prescott fashion, he shit the bed. But there's one guy that's not going to shit the bed. Mr. Big Cock Brock Purdy. He's going to go in now, and he's going to throw for higher than 265.5 passing yards.
Okay.
I could see a 300 burger out of this one right here.
300.
I think he's going to submit the Niners as the premier team in the NFC by beating down them Packers.
Okay. Lance, did you find somewhere to pivot?
So my cut and dry pick was stripped away from me. So that means I have to get flashy. And I have to go out there a little bit. I feel good about it. It's not crazy. It's not as crazy as Tyrod. You were talking about you were looking for one. I think you're going to find one this weekend. I'm taking Josh Allen higher than half an interception against the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend. It's a big time game. I'm not saying he's going to choke, lose the game for the Bills. I don't know how that game's going to go, but I do know he likes to throw some balls in some tight windows and he likes to throw picks.
And he's overdue.
He's overdue. He didn't throw one last game, so
All right, I'll add that one on there. And then just if you would like 5 picks on this pick'em entry, I'll go ahead and give you your 5th so you guys can see how this one shakes out. You're talking about a high pressure, high leverage situation in a Chiefs-Bills game, and you see Josh Allen throwing at least 1 pick. Well, the guy on the other side of the ball has been turning it over at almost the same rate, and I see him doing it again against a good defense. Give me Patrick Mahomes higher than half an interception.
that's an emotional pick.
Yeah, that is. I don't know if I like that one.
I just don't think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. It's going to be in Buffalo, outside. It's going to be freezing. It's going to be negative whatever.
It was cold. It was cold as hell in Kansas City.
It's going to be warmer in Buffalo than it was last weekend.
Will it?
Yeah, I was checking the weather when I was deciding where to go. I think it's going to be like between like 14 and 19.
Let's see.
It's still cold.
Yeah, but it ain't.
Patrick Mahomes in a 26-7 win against the Dolphins threw the ball 41 times.
Yeah, and
Feels like a...
they don't. I mean, they have Pacheco, but I don't know if they can ride him out to a win against the Bills.
In the 2017 loss in December, Mahomes threw a pick. And he was on a pick streak all the way up until their last game
against the Bills?
the Bengals.
Against the Bengals.
He had 1 against Green Bay, 1 against Buffalo, 2 against New England, 1 against the Raiders, none against Cincy. That game didn't really matter, none. And then he had 1 touchdown, no picks against the Dolphins.
Well, there you have it.
I feel like 1 is overdue.
If you were to put a little money on that, how much?
If you were to put $5 on that pick'em entry there, pays out $125. So
Pretty good.
I like
Good
that.
odds.
I like that. We're going to go ahead and lock that in. If you feel good about that one, FTS, code FTS on Underdog Fantasy to get your picks locked in. Your pick'em entry submitted. If you ride with the boys, post it, tweet us, tag us, do whatever. We might do something kind of cool if that pick'em entry turns into something, which I think it will. We might do something cool if some of you guys ride with us. So please let us know. Tag us, tweet us, do all that good fun shit.
We only take a 10% cut.
I was gonna say we might do a little interesting giveaway or something like that if you ride with the boys and this one hits.
Do we have a Twitter?
We
No.
do.
Oh yeah, we do.
We do. I don't think we've ever tweeted.
No.
I was like, tweet us.
You can run
DM
mine if
us
you
on
want.
Instagram.
DM us on Instagram. Post it on your story. Tag us on Instagram.
Make a TikTok.
I think you can make a story on TikTok, I guess.
DM
Put it
us
on there. Tag us. Tweet us. YouTube, you can't do anything.
Email
on
us.
We have an email, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my number is text me.
I thought you were going with
No,
that. I thought you were
no.
going to for a minute. Yeah, I put it in. Hey, I think it's gonna work out well.
I
think
think
people-
it's smack.
I think it's gonna schmack. If it schmacks and you rode with us and you posted it, you're shouting out the dogs. We might do a little giveaway
It
at
might
the end
get
of
you
it.
a cheeseburger
Yeah, we might throw a little
with some special sauce.
action your way. But that is going to do it for another episode of From the Stands podcast. We really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This is one of our longest episodes ever, I think.
It's going to be what, like an hour 45?
Like 2 hours, I think. Yeah, we're approaching that 2 hour mark. If you stuck around with us till now, you are who we do this for.
If you're here at the end, comment what?
Zach likes men.
Yes.
No.
Comment Zach
No.
likes
Zach
men.
likes
No.
men. If you're still
No.
here
No.
at the 2 hour
Fuck
mark.
y'all. Fuck y'all. If you're still here now, go down below, comment, them dogs are hitting. Go ahead and comment that for the boys. All right. If you stuck with us this long, you are a real one. You're who we make this for. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Smash that sub button. Yes, smash it. Drop a like, drop a comment, tweet us, tag us, all that shit. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
YouTube.
Facebook's out there. You can if you want to, but hit that sub button. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We will see you guys again next week. Peace.